Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw.
And I'm Sean Liang.
And we are joined today by two film critics from the site, Sean Liang. He's a former co-host of the Kulturecast.
Who's turning the keys?
Jesus Christ. And Ash Suri.
Hello, everyone.
Ash, there's a note of trepidation in your voice going into this podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm in it alone, you know.
You heard our
God damn it, guys! Like, I'm the only one in here.
300, you know.
He's heard our Fast and Furious 7 podcast.
Hey man, that's an award-winning podcast. So I've heard. We won the NAACP's most diverse cast for a podcast award last year.
Two white guys and
another white guy.
Well, he sounded black.
Today we're going to be talking about not a Herzog film, actually. Herzog month wrapped up with Monday's Kulturecast over Aguirre. Today we're going to be talking about the 2016 film X-Men Apocalypse, the most recent entry into the long-running franchise. But before we talk about X-Men Apocalypse, have you guys been watching anything this week?
I actually watched, it's kind of coincidental, I watched, like, right after watching Apocalypse, I watched Mud. It's like this small movie a couple years ago, I think 2013 or something, but it had Ty Sheridan, who is Cyclops, and Matthew McConaughey, and like Reese Witherspoon and stuff. It's like, it's pretty much just really edgy Huckleberry Finn, but it's...
Wasn't that like one of the first movies that was like part of the Matthew McConaughey...
Yeah. It's kind of like, the inauguration. You know, he's actually a serious actor now, so...
This is one where they, like, find him on a beach.
Yeah, it's an island.
Right, and they're not sure if he's, like, a murderer or something.
Yeah.
I thought there was the one where he played a sentient mud blob. That's the movie's name.
That's called Makana Mud?
Makana Mud! We need to fucking make this movie now.
I would pay to watch that.
Free state of Makana Mud?
Just like a mud blob pounding his chest and going,
Actually, it would be a mud blob playing bongos on the beach naked while high.
Time is a flat mud puddle.
Either way, I'd pay money.
It's all sediment, man. It's just all sediment. Do you watch anything else, Ash?
No, not really. Just...
If you like Ty Sheridan, you should check out Scout's Guide to the Apocalypse.
Oh, really? I heard that was really bad, though.
It was, it had its moments. It was a fairly decent horror movie, comedy horror movie.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I checked him out before when they released who was playing Cyclops. I was like, for like a young actor, the guy's in a lot of really serious, critically acclaimed films.
Yeah, he was also in the Stanford Prison Experiment last year, and that movie was really good.
That's why I recognized it. Oh my gosh.
You ended up watching Stanford Prison Experiment?
I loved it.
It was really good, right?
Yeah, I love that. Especially...
And he's the lead in the new Ready Player One.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Kid's like 19. He's already done more than I have, and I'm 26.
Oh, God.
He was in that Ewan McGregor movie where he plays Jesus. Yeah.
Is that Tree of Life?
No, it's I forget the name. It's very dramatic.
Ewan McGregor's Guide to Being the Jesus. John, did you watch anything?
I watched Keanu recently, which is the Key and Peele action comedy.
So Key and Peele's fully fleshed out sketch.
Yeah, but it's actually really fucking good.
It sounded good.
Because it's two guys that are essentially the dudes from Boondock Saints murder some drug dealers, and the drug dealer's pet cat gets away and finds its way to essentially Key and Peele, and then it gets robbed from their house by a gang of Blood and Crypt rejects that call themselves Blips. And so they go there.
You waiting for a laugh?
Yeah, I was waiting for a laugh. But then Key and Peele go to this gang hideout to get the cat back and end up having to pose as, like, hardcore drug-dealing murderer gangbangers to try and get the cat back. And the whole thing is them, just bullshitting their way through that whole exaggerated crime world. And it's pretty fucking funny.
It looked funny, but I mean, it was like out of the theaters before I even had a chance to see it.
Yeah.
It was like when I was like, yeah, we should go see it. It was like gone already. Like it was in theaters for like 2 weeks.
I didn't even know it had come out until my brother came downstairs and was like, hey, you want to watch Keanu?
Movie came out. What about you, Sean? You watch anything?
I haven't really seen anything new this week, but I'm going tonight to see a friend of mine. She produced a documentary called Holy Hell, and it's about her friend. It's going to Sundance, or it's already at Sundance or something. But it'll be out next year, hopefully, for everyone. And it's about this guy, her friend, who moved from Texas when he came out to his parents and they kicked him out. And so he moved out here with his sister in L.A. and ended up joining a cult without realizing it for a few years. So this is about him and a few people who escaped. It's a documentary. It's called Holy Hell, so you should look for it, check it out, support it, because it needs – apparently they got death threats, so their distributor dropped out. So very interesting.
Was it Scientology?
Possibly.
Join the cult.
This is California. They're everywhere.
He came out and got kicked out of his parents' house in L.A. and then moved to Texas?
No. He was in Texas. That's what. No, he got kicked out of his parents' home in Texas.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, why would a freshly gay guy...
I'm trying to figure out a good way to word that one, huh, John? A freshly gay...
I don't know. Uncloseted? I don't know what the term is for that.
Not ripe yet.
Right, what the fuck? Oh, Jesus.
This podcast, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to say that we are a very diverse group. And I'm not convinced any one of us realizes that.
Yeah.
Vote Trump.
So yeah, I'm going to see that.
What have I been watching? I haven't really watching anything. I finished BoJack Horseman.
Really?
Ooh, is season 2 coming out soon?
You just finished that?
Well, I hadn't watched it because I didn't like the first couple episodes that I watched.
I haven't even started watching again because I said I would.
I think you, of all people, would appreciate it, Sean.
Okay, all right. But I'm with you. I didn't like the first couple episodes.
Yeah, I didn't like the first couple episodes, and I kind of gave it a chance, and it's really good. It's such a goddamn depressing show. I mean, it's like a really, like Netflix. I think you were the one who posted this on Facebook, John. Like, Netflix and depressing shows is like hand in hand.
Yes,
Because you're sitting on your couch watching them. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix, even the shows that they pick up that weren't originally on Netflix, but they were like, we'll give you money to keep going, shows get super depressing. Like Video Game High School. You guys ever watch that?
No, but I'm going to check it out now.
The first 2 seasons are like super kitschy and weird and quirky and fun and like a parody of video game culture. And then the 3rd season, Netflix paid a bunch of money for it.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off, or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
And it gets, like, suddenly all of the characters are aware of their own dickishness, and that becomes, like, the driving point of the season. And it gets, like, super fucked up. But that's a whole thing. That's just Netflix doing things to be edgy.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, BoJack Horseman was not what I was expecting at all.
And the first episodes of BoJack Horseman are like, this is a standard sitcom dickhole character.
Yeah, and then it's you realize the depth of the character the longer the show goes on. And then it stops being a comedy show at some point, because the first couple episodes are like joke, comedy, depressing, this fucked up, situation that BoJack is in, and then the last, half of the first season, it just goes, yeah, we're done making jokes. Stop laughing. This is super messed up.
Oh my gosh. Okay, then I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely one of Netflix's better shows. But talking about things that are good, unfortunately, that time for that has passed. Let's talk X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse came out May 27th, this year, 2016. It is directed again by Bryan Singer. This is his fourth entry in the X-Men franchise. He directed X-Men 1, X-Men 2, X-Men Days of Future Past, and this film. The film would have most of the cast of X-Men First Class and some of the cast from Days of Future Past returning, including James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence. It would see new people cast in familiar roles, like Ty Sheridan as Cyclops, Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones as Jean Grey. The IMDb synopsis for the film is, with the emergence of the world's first mutant, Apocalypse, the X-Men must unite to defeat his extinction-level plan.
He's coming.
Some call him Apocalypse. He was some kind of god. For thousands of years, he's been amassing mutants to take their powers. He always had 4 followers.
Like the 4 horsemen.
Eric, don't join them.
Whatever it is you think you saw in me, I buried it with my family.
Together, we will cleanse the earth.
Everything they've built will fall! And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one!
I've never felt power like this before. They took him. Raven, the world needs the X-Men.
I'm not a hero.
Students look up to you.
If I'm going to teach your kids something, I'm going to teach them how to fight. Follow me.
To her. I'm not afraid of him. Magneto, he's my father.
What?
Him and my mom, they did.
No, I know.
Not all of us can control our powers.
Then don't.
Apocalypse means to destroy this world. It's all of us against a god. And the most powerful beings on Earth.
Forget everything you think you know. None of that matters. You're not students anymore.
We'll take everything from them.
You're X-Men.
Well, you've been busy.
We had a little help.
Starting with Ash, quick take on the film. What'd you think?
I thought it was really good. I liked it. I think everyone should go see it. And I think so far this year, it's the best superhero movie that came out. Just because, there's reasons for why I didn't like Civil War as much as I thought I would. But BVS was, just a shit show. But okay, first,
did you forget about Deadpool?
A real superhero movie. I love Deadpool, but Deadpool is not. Deadpool's not like a superhero movie. Deadpool.
And you know what? Before kind of you get the negativity lumped upon you, I'm actually going to agree with you because Deadpool, and I know you're going to agree with me, Deadpool kind of operates in this weird universe of itself that it kind of exists outside of what we come to expect from superhero movies.
That's why it's an awesome superhero movie.
The whole point is it's not.
It's not a superhero movie, though, right?
My shit. We're not talking about Deadpool because that's going to take us on a whole tangent. It is a superhero movie, unlike superhero movies that have come before it. So it's kind of unfair to compare more or less formulaic superhero movies to it. Can you at least admit that to some extent? No, it's not unfair because you cannot say this is really good and this is formula cookie cutter dumb. So it's not fair to compare the two because the good one has an unfair advantage by being original and interesting. That's a fucking terrible decision.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not the best superhero movie of the year because it is. I'm just saying it's so unlike anything else that obviously, of course, it stands out.
But that doesn't mean that the fact that it's so different and stands out doesn't mean that you can then go, but it's not fair to use it in comparison to these other movies because they're so samey that it's different.
Well, Deadpool does things that no other superhero movie does.
Yeah, because it's
an R-rated movie. None of these movies are R-rated, so it takes chances that these movies aren't even afforded.
Again, we really shouldn't have this conversation.
But I mean, it's essentially a conversation worth having because we never talked about Deadpool.
I mean, if you want to have this conversation, then okay. Yes, essentially we're both saying that Deadpool was awesome and different and original and funny and violent and good. But I'm saying that makes it unequivocally the best superhero movie of the year, if not one of the best made by big-budget Hollywood productions. And you're saying that we can't classify it within the same genre, and so you can't say that...
No. I'm saying you can't compare other films in the same genre to it.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
No. It can be. It's a superhero movie,
right?
But it is such a wildly different and tonally different, and afforded things that other movies aren't, like having an R rating, which automatically allows them to do all kinds of stuff that they're not allowed to do with other films.
So here's my question: why can we not use it as a standard of what superhero movies should try and be? Interesting, original.
Because the things that Deadpool does so well are a lot of it's because it's afforded an R rating.
It's an anti-superhero movie.
Yeah, it's a deconstruction. It makes fun of them half the time.
Yeah, it's a satire of the genre in which it exists. It's a parody at times. It takes the tropes that other superhero movies follow and makes fun of them. But it still follows the same beats. It's still a 3-act structure. It's still a guy who's self-absorbed and full of self-doubt doing what's good, even if he does it in a fucked-up way. He still saves the damsel in distress, despite the fact that she's only there because he's a dumb shit. That you don't have to be an R-rated movie to take the tropes.
Yeah, but that's not why Deadpool is appealing.
What? Yeah, it's like
the movie you just described sounds like a pretty boring movie. No, but the fact that they let the Deadpool character be realized to its fullest because it's an R rating, and they allow Deadpool to really be Deadpool as opposed to Wolverine Origins Deadpool, which let's not even open that disgusting sack of shit.
That's one way to put it.
The fact that they allowed it to be R-rated and fully realize the character of Deadpool sets it apart because a lot of these superhero movies are neutered because they aren't fully able to allow the character to exist in the form that it should.
Okay. There's plenty of superheroes like Captain America or Ant-Man that can totally do a PG-13 movie and still make good movies. Winter Soldier was an arguably good movie despite its flaws, and it was still PG-13 because it was Captain America as Captain America doing something fucking interesting.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about characters like Punisher.
But of course, Punisher and Deadpool should be rated R, but that doesn't mean that characters that aren't the Punisher and Deadpool can't make good movies because they don't liquefy people's insides against highway street signs.
I don't think Deadpool would have been nearly as good of a movie if it had been PG-13.
Of course it wouldn't have, because it's Daredevil, but What I'm saying is that you can take the core reasons, the plot development and the character development and the fucking narrative structure and the comedy of it, and you can put that in a PG-13 movie with a superhero that fits the PG-13 bill and make a good fucking superhero movie.
But you can't. That's the problem. Deadpool. Most of the reason Deadpool is funny is because of all the crazy, incredibly adult jokes.
Yes,
but gory violence.
Yeah,
but not all humor is Ryan Reynolds getting pegged.
No, but aside from that, Deadpool isn't an exceptional film because the narrative and the story construction, the character development, they're pretty formulaic. As a superhero movie, as a movie, it's very traditional. But as a comedy film, it's incredibly innovative because it takes the superhero genre and then deconstructs it and makes fun of it. But you can't do that because you need that R rating to really do that to its fullest. Otherwise, you're just making really childish jokes.
So what you're saying is that all superheroes in general are for adults.
Or what?
Is that what you mean?
No, superheroes are for kids.
Yeah. Well,
in general, superheroes are for kids.
But what I mean is but you're saying, I'm just confused because I think what you're saying is that in order to tell the story, it needs to be rated R.
No.
But I don't think that's true. In order to tell a Deadpool story, yes. But in order to tell satire that's self-referential and aware of its own tropes, I don't think it has to be rated R. The jokes about there only being 2 X-Men in the entire X-Mansion and the jokes about how he has to save the damsel in distress and the jokes about how, oh, hi, Bob, I didn't know you were here, those can all be done in a PG-13 movie. And I'm willing to accept a little less violence in favor of a little more goddamn self-awareness from the writers who are making these movies.
But why? That's that goes against... These comic book movies are generally to say a message. Deadpool's whole shtick is that he breaks the fourth wall, he's funny about it, and he makes fun of comics. That's why he's charming. But you can't do that with Captain America because then you get confused. Isn't this guy supposed to be a symbol of America?
He is, if you look at his character as this is what his character is, but in the comic books where they have decades of fiction work put into it, he's not always, I am Captain America, I love the President and the Senate.
Oh my God, he's singing a song
again. Of course not, but the whole, that's the thing, you have to make the audience familiar with who he is on the big screen. So why jump to this self-referential humor, because people are just going to end up getting confused anyways.
Right, and that makes sense for Captain America, that you need the origin story stuff, and you need to establish who the character is, but I would like a Batman movie where Batman doesn't spend at least 5 minutes of the movie standing in front of the graves of his dead parents crying. If I made a Batman movie...
Though.
What? Yeah,
him being distraught and guilty over his parents.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen in every movie, but, we've only had one so far that can count as a Batman, the current Batman movie. So, if we're talking about, Batman as a character right now, then, BVS, you have to... The problem with that is that you have to introduce that he feels guilty for his parents and, he does all these things in their name. But so, that's kind of unavoidable. Later on, sure, but you have to establish it.
You don't really need to.
Yeah, because, this is what people will look back on this and be like, this is, what the trilogy or the anthology kind of films that were produced during this time. So, you have to treat it as if someone new is coming in to watch this film. They want to know what this character is. And BVS is a horrible example of that, but still, you have to show them first off who they are before you jump to looking at them in a completely different light.
But you don't, because they didn't do that for Spider-Man in Civil War. They were just hey, everybody knows that it's a teen kid who got bit by a radioactive spider and now crawls on walls.
I think
here's Spider-Man.
It works in 2 dimensions because
everybody went, oh yes, Spider-Man.
Well, one, he's Spider-Man, right? So for a lot of kids, look, they already know who he is. But another thing is that it works well because you're not completely introducing the character, but you're giving them enough information to work off of, with Tony talking about, he's going around in his pajamas and stuff trying to fight crime. That's enough to say, well, this kid's going to help Tony now. And in his own movie, then it can show why he has the help of all the Avengers and stuff. But that was just, I guess, it was just a smart way to incorporate the character. It wasn't supposed to be his origin story. That's what Homecoming is going to be about.
But they could, look, if I made a Batman movie, right? Mm-hmm. My Batman movie would open on Batman kicking the ever-loving shit out of Firefly, wrapping him in his own flamethrower hose, and dropping him from 10 feet on top of a moving police car before swinging off into the darkness to break the legs of a purse snatcher. because that's what Batman is, and everybody already knows it because Batman movies have made ungodly amounts of money in the last, 10, 15 years. Ungodly. There have been like 12 TV shows that have all shown Batman's origin. People buy Batman comics like they're fucking cocaine.
Yeah, but
everybody knows it.
I guess especially for us, as people who enjoy comics and like pop culture and stuff, we're familiar with that. But the problem with BVS was, one, that it relied too much on assuming that people knew who these characters were and that they would just be like hype as fuck because they saw them on the big screen. So they threw out all their like traditional storytelling methods. And that was the problem. So you have to you have to assume going in that there's going to be people who watch these films for the first time as their first introduction to the character, and you have to like be aware of that so you don't make a movie that makes no sense to the casual goers. Because that does happen. It completely will happen with PBS.
You think that one of the problems of Batman vs. Superman is that they didn't spend enough time on the origins of the superheroes?
No, I think they took some liberties with characters like Luthor and Wonder Woman and stuff. And it's not that they didn't do enough exposition. It's just that they did too much with characters people didn't know much about. So they were confused at the end. And like the whole scene where she looks at the laptop and looking at all these characters, people don't know what's going on there. And you're assuming that like a lot of these people who are fans, what Marvel does is when they do these...
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Things they do it very cleverly. They add these Easter eggs and references to characters, but they're enough so that people who are like super fans, they're gonna be satisfied, but all the casual people will like, they won't, even if they don't understand, it won't affect the movie too much. But, a big part of it was, I'm assembling this team, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and people are just left with too many questions at the end.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about making a Moon Knight movie and not giving an origin. I barely even know that Moon Knight fucking exists. But literally in pop culture, comic book movies are the big moneymaker in Hollywood now because everybody in our frickin' society at least knows the basics of the big comic books. They know Superman, they know Batman, they know Spider-Man, they know Iron Man. They get it.
But do they? That's the problem. You can't say with the fact that people will know, because people should know who Wonder Woman is and maybe even a little bit of her history, but a lot of people are still confused as to who that girl with the sword was at the end. The mainstream audience... Sorry. Yes.
Oh, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that, there's a lot of people, a lot of mainstream audience, a lot of people who watch these big blockbuster movies because of the marketing, because it's a big event, who don't know anything about comic book characters, even now. And also, it's really, it's not rare, but, it happens. It's very
that's me.
Yeah, see,
yeah, but... Sean,
Well, and that's something I want to talk about before I get your opinion on X-Men Apocalypse. Let's transition back to X-Men Apocalypse, because I feel like this was bound to happen with this movie, because this movie, I think, for me, it has some of Batman vs. Superman and some of Civil War kind of mixed in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Sean, for you, since you're our resident
outsider.
Yeah, I mean, you're not indoctrinated into this the culture of comic books like Ash and John and I are. What did you think of X-Men Apocalypse?
So it's funny that we're talking about this now. It's appropriate because that's one of the problems I guess I had. When I left the theater last night, I was telling my friend, I'm like, this is kind of why I stopped watching or paying attention to X-Men, because to me, I feel like it's like a new generation of Pokemon. I get lost. I'm like, I don't know who the hell this is. What are their attacks like? There's new friggin' elements now. So for me, it's not even like I know of the X-Men. I know what they're mutants. But when you introduce these characters, sometimes I feel like I don't need to know. It's like Storm. I knew who Storm was when I saw Storm. You know what I mean? Very iconic looks. She's been around for a while, so even though I've never seen a movie with Storm in it, I knew that was Storm. But I don't know. X-Men also is a special. I mean, there's so many. I mean, the idea of the X-Men universe is that there's so many and that is okay for me. But then their powers become sort of like similar to their personalities. That's more as how important it is, I guess. You know what I mean? So it's weird. But in this case, I felt like I didn't have a problem recognizing characters. It's just, I mean, do you want me to tell you how I felt about this movie?
Yeah, walking out. What do you think of this movie?
I thought it was too long. I thought I was expecting the last few minutes of the movie to happen in the first 10 minutes of the movie. I really did. I thought that they were going to start, because like the beginning of the movie, they set up like that this godlike mutant, that this almost godlike mutant is coming back, is returning. And it's basically like the apocalypse. The whole thing is like, I mean, it ends with him saying all is revealed. It's like the apocalypse. But I thought that was going to happen at the beginning. I thought it was, going to be about that. But everything in the middle, it just seemed like a lot of, I don't know, filler. Even though I understand that they have to introduce these new characters. I don't know. I didn't hate it. Like, I didn't really hate this movie. I just felt like it was drawn out way too long.
Can I mention something here that Batman vs. Superman and this goddamn movie did? The characters in the comics, their names are Doomsday and Apocalypse, but you never call them that in the movie.
No, they just use the word apocalypse.
Yeah, they use the word, and that's what they are.
Oh, yeah.
It's, like, so fucking dumb as, like, a way of, like, naming the character without naming them. No, like that. Is that not what they're doing?
I'm assuming, because
they're like
I had
naming
no idea.
the character without naming them.
Yeah, I had no idea his name was Apocalypse until my friend looked up who played him, which I had no idea. It was Oscar Isaac.
Oh, we can get to that.
On the IMDb credit, he's listed as Apocalypse.
Right.
But they only call him
called that in the movie.
Whatever.
That's why I had no idea who Apocalypse was. I didn't even know he was a character.
John, his name's Ensabanur. They said it like a million times.
Yeah, they said it while he was like mumbling and people were throwing metal at him and laser swords and shit, so I didn't really hear it.
Okay, so before I get to give my thoughts on the film, John, what did you think? This is a fucking loaded question.
It was.
I handed you the pistol and go to town,
It
brother.
was a fucking waste of my goddamn time. The only reason why I went to see it in the first place was because I hadn't gone to see a movie recently, and there was no way I was going to convince anybody to go see Angry Birds with me.
You could have asked me, and I would have gone.
Well, I
with
didn't
you.
know you were in Texas.
I would have gone and seen Angry Birds with you, sir.
But yeah, I mean it's we're gonna get into specifics and details, but people's powers didn't make any sense. Fucking the mutants that got picked and the shit that they didn't make any sense. The dialogue was terrible. Characters jumped back and forth from being put upon and bullied mutants to being the fucking cool kid on town that's like grease lightning, let's go hotwire a car and go to the mall. Fucking stupid Havoc fucking blows himself up on accident because he's dumb. And the whole thing, we're going to get into specifics and details, but it's a waste of fucking time. And my hope is that it does to this version of X-Men what Last Stand did to the original trilogy. Ooh. And they don't do anything with it for like another 5 years, and then they reboot it entirely with one good movie, a second decent movie, and then another third shitty travesty movie.
That one hurt.
That shit good.
I wasn't expecting a Last Stand comparison.
I'm going to say this much about this movie. When I saw the trailers for it, I was like, meh, this doesn't look great. It looks kind of cheesy. And, I think Ash has a point in his review that he wrote for the site that X-Men movies have like a level of cheese to them, just kind of like built in. Oh, this guy can shoot ice, and this guy can shoot fire, and this guy can shoot lasers out of his eyes. And they're all like super friends together, and they all live in a house, and they all hang out. So, it looked cheesy. And then when I sat down to watch it last night, I watched it in a fairly crowded theater. Like I said, I think it takes the worst parts of Batman versus Superman and the middling to mediocre parts of Civil War, and kind of like mashes it together, and what you get is this not quite ripe, not quite rotten piece of fruit that you kind of stare at and you're like, I don't want to eat that. But if I had no other choice, I guess I will. And that's kind of my feelings towards this movie. It's just, it's not like, it's bad, but it's not Batman versus Superman bad. It's not Last Stand bad. But then again, I don't even remember X-Men Last Stand. Like, I remember it being bad, but...
I remember Wolverine stabbing himself.
I just don't remember Last Stand. I mean, that movie is, 10 years old at least? More than that? But I think that if anything comes out of this movie, and I'm going to kind of build on what you said, John, I hope that this movie is a failure enough that they give X-Men back to Marvel. They were, you know what? Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a big failure, and they sent Spider-Man back to Marvel. I want to see Wolverine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, even if it's not Hugh Jackman, I want to see those characters in that universe.
I'm conflicted on that idea because I really...
They belong there.
Yeah, but if you take the X-Men away from Fox, then you also take Daredevil away from Fox. Not Daredevil, Deadpool away from Fox. And they did a good job with Deadpool, so I'm willing to let them have the mutant teams that I don't really give a shit about if they also continue to make good Deadpool movies.
It's never been the studio for Fox. I think it was always just who's directing what. Because Deadpool, they gave them no money, but they had the best comedic team on the market, and they made an insanely funny movie. So I guess Singer was a little ambitious here, but I don't think it blew up that much. And the whole thing, Singer's talked about, how Kevin Feige or Feige, however you pronounce it. Apparently, before Marvel and Fox used to have some real bad blood between the execs, but now there's some openings and stuff. That's why you can do all the Spider-Man stuff. Well, all the Spider-Man stuff with Sony. It's because all the execs are a little more open-minded now. So it could happen. I don't want to see them throw away all the actors they have now because I like Fassbender as Magneto. I like McAvoy.
Yeah, but they're at the end of their 3-picture deal.
This office is going to get renewed. These guys make way too much money for it to happen. I don't know about Jennifer Lawrence because she despises it, but I think Fassbender and McAvoy make too much money. I
also want to make a side note here. Simon Kinberg don't write another goddamn thing ever.
What else is he
Seriously, the Fantastic Four.
Oh, Jesus God.
He also wrote Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Jumper, XXX State of the Union, X-Men Last Stand.
How does he keep getting work? That's just a list of
He's also working on an untitled Star Wars anthology film.
Ooh, no. Please don't be the Obi-Wan film. Oh, God, no. Okay, wait the Han Solo film. No one cares about that piece of shit.
He is a terrible screenwriter.
I don't know how you write. Literally, that list is here is a list of the worst critically acclaimed movies of all goddamn time. And he's written all of them. And people still hire him to write screenplays? And they're surprised when it gets poorly reviewed?
I'm surprised that someone who worked on Last Stand was hired for this movie. Did you not see Last Stand, Fox? Are you high?
And then Mark Guggenheim still gets work. And that guy...
So does your boy David Goyer.
Oh, my God.
And he wrote Batman vs. Superman.
He wrote Blade 3. Jeez.
That was my favorite one because it had Triple H in it.
2 had Ron Perlman, so that was my favorite. 2
was by far the best one.
Ron Perlman as a neo-Nazi vampire? Yes, please.
They're all horrible, but 2 was great.
So, we're not going to talk spoilers yet. Before we talk spoilers, let's just kind of talk generalities. We'll talk the performances, and then when we talk spoilers, we'll talk specific plot points. What did you guys think of the performances in the film? Namely, we'll talk the old guard first, then we'll talk the new guard. So old guard, McAvoy, Fassbender, Lawrence, and Nicholas Hoult. What did you guys think of them? And Evan Peters to some extent, but not as much.
Wait, we're talking about the old guard first?
Yes.
They're also great. I think everyone has a point when they talk about how Jennifer Lawrence really doesn't care about the franchise anymore. So, it kind of...
She's staring off screen every scene, just get me the fuck out of here. I hate this movie. Fuck you.
You still have family. More family than you know.
I think the one time she showed enough character or any emotion was when she was shocked that, the whole Quicksilver Magneto thing. So, I mean...
You mean the thing they ruined in the trailer for the movie?
Yeah, but that's like comic knowledge.
And then the thing that they saved for the next movie so that Quicksilver can convince Magneto not to destroy the world because family.
We're not talking spoilers yet, John.
Sorry.
Not that it's really a spoiler.
Salt.
Salty. Salt NaCl, bro.
No, I think they're all in good shape aside from Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, Evan Peters, yeah. Evan Peters is just a funny guy. I don't think you can ever deny that Evan Peters is always going to be like a great comic relief. But yeah.
Me personally, like I don't know if I've seen anything that Fassbender's been in that I didn't like him in, at least.
The guy's unable of giving a bad performance.
Right. He seems like a consummate professional. Like, if I were ever making a movie, I'd want him in it because I don't know if I've ever heard a bad word about the guy, personal or professional or, like, entertainment-wise.
Isn't it crazy that him and Cody Smith-McPhee were in Slow West last year, and now they're in X-Men Apocalypse together? Isn't that just fucking weird?
Who was Cody Smith-McPhee in...
Slow West, he was the main
not in
king.
Slow West, in Apocalypse.
It was Nightcrawler.
Oh, shit.
He was almost cast as Spider-Man last year.
That would have been cool. I like that guy. But, you know, again, Fassbender is good, obviously, but when you have your character doing the same thing for the third time in a row, and he's one of the important characters, it gets a little samey, and even Michael Fassbender can't really fix it. As for McAvoy, you know, I like the guy, I like his acting, but again, I don't think he was given anything really to work with, and so I don't really have an opinion about him in this movie either way. And then Jennifer Lawrence, you know, we've already established that everybody thinks that she's sort of half-assed it because she doesn't want to be there. So, I mean, who else was Old Guard? Nobody, right?
That's Nicholas Hoult as
Hugh Jackman.
Is that a spoiler?
Well, they spoiled the end of Days of Future Past, so is that considered
Wolverine in an X-Men movie? What does this world come to?
And it's played by Hugh Jackman?
That's insane.
What?
I want that old Australian guy back.
I mean, I look at him shirtless anytime.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you this much about James McAvoy. Man, platitudes sound better when they're delivered in an English accent. Man, everything sounds better when they're delivered in an English accent. No, Eric, don't do that.
Those who have power protect those who don't. I can't even do a British accent.
Chim Chim Cherylov, you want a little Robin Todd?
I can read your mind.
That should have been Xavier's fucking accent. Want me to lick your butt? Oh my god. What the fucking
I mean,
sex man?
Against arguments like these, how do I even stand a chance? We should just shout profanities at each other all day long.
You know,
that would make this podcast great.
Every year we are allowed one or two culture casts where we break from the norm of being civil with a movie. And, you know, we kind of let a movie have it.
Once a year?
Yeah, once or twice a year.
If a movie's released, you mean? Unless it's by Marvel. In which case we get on our knees and get the mouthwash ready. So.
No, I didn't like Civil War, but you guys already had that podcast, so we can't talk about that in detail.
I had like a Stan Lee appearance on that podcast. Sort of was there.
Sean, what did you think of the performances in the film?
I really was told that Jennifer Lawrence was going to be in it more, and I was very excited. But now that you say that, it makes so much sense. I'm like, oh, this bitch doesn't care. She didn't get but you know, that makes me love her anyway. But I do agree that it felt like the same. I'll be honest, I don't remember. When I went in and watched this, I didn't really remember anything from the previous movies until they started showing like clips from it. And it felt like it was the movie sort of felt like we were doing the same thing again. You know what I mean? And it's only based off of what I remember. But like the climactic scene with Mystique trying to persuade Magneto to not, you know, destroy the world, it's like the same sort of thing to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just because I can only remember certain things that they showed us. But
it's not. It's because it's true.
It's because it happened. I didn't hate the performance. I do feel like, and I felt like this from the first time I saw them, I don't super love James McAvoy the Professor, and I also don't super love Nicholas Hoult as Beast, but it might just be that I'm having trouble letting them sink into this world for me. I don't know what it is. I think they're good actors, but I'm just not, I don't know. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not a diehard fan like you guys, so.
I mean, they're not given anything interesting to do, so it's kind of hard to get excited about them.
And I also think that on that, as far as James McAvoy is concerned, in the earlier movies, he's this young PhD student using his knowledge of science and evolution to try and get his dick wet.
Okay, right.
And then,
what movie were you
the one
watching?
where he tells the chick with two colored eyes that she's special and a mutant, and then Raven interrupts him trying to get laid.
Bro, if you were British and smart, would you not do the same?
No, yeah, of course I would do the same. I'm not judging.
Like I said, everything sounds better in a British accent.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's what he was at the beginning of First Class. But then, because they're trying to do the whole, this is just the prequels to the original X-Men trilogy for some reason, they had to, force the morph into crippled bald Professor X.
That's right. Which does look a lot better, bald.
I mean, that's opinion.
I mean, as a professor.
That's debatable.
Right, but that's the thing, is the reason why I don't think he works as well as some of the other characters is because they're forcing the metamorphosis into the Professor X that we all know and not the Professor X that they originally wrote. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they're taking these steps that don't feel natural just so that they can make him have his hair fall out,
Right. I see. That makes sense. I don't know. I totally forgot who Rose Byrne was in the movie. I was like, who the hell is Moira? Until they kissed.
It's okay. So did
I was
they.
like, why is this girl just with them? And then I realized at the end, but.
I'm going to be honest. The X-Men movies have kind of feel like the Saw movies to me. It's like you have to have watched 8 other movies to understand what's going on in this movie.
Well, that's Marvel too.
And even then, I still had really I would like someone to coherently and concisely explain to me the timeline in these movies.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
There's 100 articles that came out a day after the release, I think, especially. Because people
and all of them say different things.
Because any movie franchise that has time travel is impossible to adequately explain time travel timelines because anything with time travel only has the rules that the writers establish and they're willing to break it whenever it's convenient.
Yeah.
The same reason why The Flash is a fucking awful TV show now.
Ooh, that's a risky one.
Really? Have you seen the finale of The Flash?
Yeah. I don't think it's the greatest show, but...
We went back in time and undid everything that happened in the first 2 seasons, and that's not shit?
Flashpoint is going to fix Arrow. That's my only hope.
Oh my shit. Flashpoint is not going to exist. Because to do a legitimate Flashpoint, you have to have Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and the Green Lantern and all that shit, and they don't have it because they can't afford it.
All you need is Mark Guggenheim. That's all you need. Mark Guggenheim.
And David Goyer.
He's the dude who writes Arrow. And he's a shitty writer. He also wrote Green Lantern.
Yeah. Jesus. I stopped watching Green Arrow this season, and I'm done. I'm not even going to give Flash a chance next season because I'm done with it.
Hey, but Supergirl's coming. That should be good.
Yeah, no. Because it's a female superhero that they go, look, it's a female superhero, aren't we cool? And then they immediately have a fucking montage where she tries on short shorts to see which one she looks best saving the world.
I'm dead.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Hey, guys. Now that we kind of talked a little bit about the old guard, what did you guys think of the new additions to the film? So Oscar Isaac's under 8 feet of makeup as Apocalypse. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, Ty Sheridan as Scott Summers, and Cody Smith-McPhee as Nightcrawler.
Oh, love it. You can.
And I know I left out the Horsemen because, well, they didn't really do it.
Okay.
Rip City, bitch.
I feel like we should talk about the Horsemen separately because that's a whole different thing.
I agree. So go ahead. What about the new guard?
Great. They're awesome. Okay, look. First thing. When I watched that first trailer, I was like, I saw Sophie Turner, and I was like, wow, she doesn't really know how to do like an American accent. So I mean, I was pleasantly surprised that you couldn't really tell. It wasn't like whatever accent Elizabeth, what's her name, does.
Who is this? Which
Who's that? Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen.
Sophie Turner is Jean Grey.
Yeah, like, honestly, the way they took the character, I mean, that's debatable. I didn't think they did too much. I think the Phoenix tease was a little early. But, I mean, as an actress, I don't think it was a horrible take on the character. Cody Smith-Fee, nice. I like that, like, Nightcrawler's actually a Nightcrawler, not some weird human Nightcrawler thing. He had a couple good jokes, but I think some of them were misses and kind of awkward. Ty Sheridan, the Cyclops, I can definitely see that going somewhere. So, like, I'm excited to see that. Especially, him, well, we can't spoil, so I won't talk about that, but probably, like, the most emotional performance out of all the New Guard, just because of, like, his circumstances. And I'm going to talk about Alexander Shipp as Storm, because, I mean, despite not doing anything, I like that they're being faithful. They're actually doing an accent, and she's not some weird American, she's American, but she's from Africa. She's from Egypt this time. So I'm just glad they stayed faithful. She did a good accent, too. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, Angel and Psylocke really didn't do much.
I really liked that they were, because like I said, this is new. This is very new for me. But I was very glad that they were focusing on Jean and Scott. I really liked those characters. I didn't know them before, so it was fun to get to know them, and I liked their performances. I thought they were really great. I really loved Sophie Turner at the end, especially when she has her big moment. But let's see, and I liked. I agree with you, Ash. I liked how we get to see some history of Storm and just where we find her, and that's kind of cool. It gives her. I liked the character of Storm. I think if I saw anything from Halle Berry, I didn't like it. So I'm glad that it's just not. I'm glad she's acting. So who else is new? What else is? Oh, I liked Nightcrawler a lot too. I like that it was. I didn't get to see Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler, so I'm excited. I like this character a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I missed a lot of important details even within the movie. I remember looking back and they would talk about things happening, and I would just totally miss it. So I don't know. The performances were great though. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with that.
As far as like the New Guard, whatever we're referring to them as, talking specifically about their acting, I don't think I really had a problem with any of it. I mean, most of them are young up and coming actors, so maybe Sansa not emoting perfectly was direction or something like that. I think my biggest problem is with the character development and the writing of the movie, and that's less on the actors and more on the writers. Are we going to have a section where we talk about stupid stuff in character development? Or should I talk about that now?
I don't know. We'll talk about that instead.
Then yeah, I mean, I don't know if I had a problem with any of the acting specifically. I think it's primarily the fault of directing and writing. So,
I think for me, Cody Smith-McPhee and Evan Peters are the best part of this entire movie. Cody Smith-McPhee was really endearing as Nightcrawler. He was a believable character. And he had some pretty good lines. His character, I actually was interested in what his character was doing. Storm, take it or leave it. Psylocke, I mean, the Horsemen, I think they really do necessitate their own section of talking about because they're kind of so isolated from everyone else for the majority of the movie. Sophie Turner, I mean, she's not good in this movie. Most of the time, it requires her to just scream at the camera.
Right, she screams at the camera and goes, "I don't have friends because people are afraid of me."
I like it when she screams, though. It's really good.
I like where this is going.
And Ty Sheridan... I don't know, I've seen Ty Sheridan in other stuff, and I found him extremely charismatic, but I don't think he was very charismatic in this film. It felt like they were going to do something interesting with his character, and then they didn't.
Directing and writing.
I don't know if that makes sense or not. Like, it felt like they were going to do something interesting, and then they were just like,
well, it feels like they had the parts before and after the interesting bit.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. Because they go to the movie and then they come back and they get out of the movie and they make this really...
For me, I feel like the interesting part should have been before they go to the movie, before Nightcrawler shows up. Because we're not talking about character development yet. So
yeah. Apparently, there's a whole mall. The whole mall scene was cut from the movie. It was supposed to be long and stuff.
Oh, big surprise! Was it because there was a minority character being played by someone?
Jubilee was actually supposed to use her powers, and they're supposed to have a whole Dazzler thing. So
Jubilee around just long enough to wear a yellow leather jacket and be there.
She was kawaii as fuck. So.
She didn't do it.
Drop that.
She was kawaii as fuck. I hate you.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the character who literally the film is set in the 80s so she can exist in the film and then was cut from the film.
Because I kept waiting for her to use a power and I never saw her do anything.
Kawaii AF, bro.
So let's talk about Apocalypse and the Horseman, and then we'll talk spoilers. So, what do you guys think of Apocalypse and the Horseman?
Okay, let's not even mention the whole original Horseman because that's a lead-up thing. But yeah, those were epic. But Apocalypse, I think Apocalypse was a hard character to explain in general, like for anyone in a movie, because it's got a lot of history behind him. And, there's this whole thing like, isn't the X gene activated by exposure to radiation? There's a whole thing where he's actually given powers by the cosmic entities and stuff. So I think saying that he was simply just the first mutant and then saying this is how he got all those powers, that was a really good choice. And it was actually a pretty easy way to explain it, so it was easy to digest. Like, his power is actually just being able to transfer. And, that's how he becomes immortal. He gets like a Wolverine-type guy to keep him alive. So it was a good way, an easy way to explain him. As for Oscar Isaac, I think everyone's going to say that Apocalypse was boring. Apocalypse was just, he wasn't really there. He was just talking with that weird accent. He had like somewhat of a synth, so he sort of sounded like his 80s part, but he didn't. I think that the whole, just to mention generally, that Cerebro scene really showed who Apocalypse was, and I think it was a really good display of power. But, that'll get bashed on just for being like very, Hans Zimmer, boom, boom, loud noises. I liked it.
Talking about the Warhead scene?
Yeah. I just think the quote and everything he said in that scene really conveyed his power a lot. Whatever followed, that's debatable. I guess, costume change would have been apt, but I'm not sure because a lot of people, I'm fairly certain they tried. It's hard to judge saying that, like, they went with some weird, what was the guy they made fun of? They called him?
Ivan Ooze.
Ivan Ooze, yeah. I was like, it's Ivan Ooze.
Because he looks just like Ivan Ooze? Because, have you seen the original costume design?
He was purple because of the whole light stuff.
Have you seen the original Apocalypse costume design?
Me? Yeah.
Yes. It's astounding to me that that's the one that they scrapped.
I mean, like, there was all those pictures, right, where the guy who designed the Black Panther suit said that he designed the Apocalypse costume, but they decided not to go with it, and they showed what it would look like. And to me, it looked good. I just don't know how that would look on the screen. So I think
it would look better than him looking like a alien from Independence Day.
I feel like I trust Singer enough, as crazy as that is. I feel like I trust him enough to have at least tried the original costume and said, well, no, that doesn't work. Where they went from there, I guess you could say there's probably better options, but I think costumes should be least of anyone's worries just because I don't think it detracted too much. Maybe just a taller actor or a beefier actor would have been the better. But I don't think Oscar Isaac was a bad Apocalypse. I just think, as a character, I think it was just a little too early to go straight to Apocalypse when they had, like, this first re-entry. I think they should have done, like, Brotherhood of Mutants, then maybe gone into Apocalypse with Magneto and then gone to Dark Phoenix, but, that's a whole other thing. As for the Horseman, I think Psylocke was given enough. I don't think she wasn't given any exposition. She was like a bodyguard, but I think she was given enough information just to be menacing, and Olivia Munn had, like, 4 lines. So it wasn't anything special, but I think she had some good X Factor set up near the end. Like I already said, Storm was good. And Angel was an odd choice, but like everyone's like, why would you choose Angel? Because he's not really powerful, like why would we even have him as a horseman? Well, he was a horseman in the comics.
Man, I have a whole thing on that.
Yeah, but like if you're talking about comics, the Archangel was a horseman in the comics. I think the only disservice there was that they didn't call him Archangel.
I mean, yes, he was a horseman in the comics, but in the comic books, Apocalypse isn't actually betrayed by humans. He just regularly goes into, like, decade-long cryo sleep.
Yeah, but it's, like, so he's obviously strong enough. Like, I mean, I think some of the stuff they did with the metal wings was really cool. Like breaking out of the rebar cage that he was in and all that stuff. So I think that wasn't much of a problem. I just think they had a lot of characters, a lot of really cool characters that they just didn't do much with. But I don't think it was like, oh, they did anything permanent to these characters to the point where, like, you know, they're ruined. So there's a lot of room for improvement. I don't even know.
I mean, that one thing that they did with Angel.
What, near the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's up in the air. Like, even when I was writing my, like,
what?
He's not,
look, he's not going to be.
He's not like, okay, we can't really talk about it without saying spoilers.
Right, because we're not in spoiler time yet.
Yeah, so let's leave that for now. Who's the last one? Magneto.
Magneto, but we already talked about him.
Greatest thing about that movie, Apocalypse is just a super-powered fashion designer. So, I mean, everything looks...
He is super-powered.
Let me unlock your powers and make dye your hair white, because it looks great on you.
Hey guys, I'm going to tell you that this leather suit will make you look fabulous, and I can make metal with my hands.
So the costumes are great. Everything about Olivia Munn's costume was great. We can just...
Everything about her costume is fucking dumb. He gave Magneto and Angel and Storm, like, legit costumes, and he's like, yeah, but you need a one-piece bathing suit,
Yeah, because they had to have Olivia Munn tight spandex pussy shots.
Exactly.
Whoa!
I mean, Olivia Munn was a little more than like a sex object in the movie, even though she did more than Black Widow ever does, so...
Wow, really, bro? Oh, she does more, really?
That is totally false.
That's cooler than Black Widow.
That's fucking astounding.
Anyways, I mean, at least she wasn't like, oh my god, Steve, please don't do this. I mean, at least she, like, did something in the movie. But...
You mean get her ass kicked by Beast the first time she goes into combat?
But she had a sword, dude. It looked cool, okay? Black Widow can't even look cool. She just looks awkward when she's fighting. I don't know. Alright, that's a whole other discussion. Yeah, Magneto, I mean, yeah, I think we'll save that for spoiler just because there's a lot of stuff there you gotta talk about. But yeah, that's my opinion. I think the Horsemen were good. Underutilized, yes. But it's not like they did anything they can't change later. Or, I mean, sorry, not change, grow on later. No, nothing.
As far as I'm concerned, I liked the Four Horsemen from the beginning, like, this is what Apocalypse is scene, way better than the ones that he picks when he comes back and has, like, 1 million more mutants to choose from. Because in that shit, you know, it's like a 5-minute scene, but you get a super strength dude that looks like a crazy fucking monster. You have the telekinetic chick who can make force fields around people and fly and shit. You've got the dude that sets people on fire and burns their bodies from the inside out, and then I don't know what the fourth guy is. I think he probably got killed by the humans, like, right away. I don't know. But I
think that was Shockwave dude. Like, he blasted those guys.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did the little, like, sonic wave that Banshee has.
Peeled their skin off and stuff.
Yeah. But, you know, and then he comes into modern times, and he's like, I'm looking for the most powerful mutants of all time, and he picks a chick who makes a sandstorm distraction in front of him that doesn't even work as a distraction. He picks a dude whose power is that he can fly and that he has experience fighting in cage matches. And he picks a chick who can make one psionic weapon but can't make two, so she has to carry around a real sword too. And she can't make anything other than, you know, weapons, because she can't make a shield to block punches or something like that. I don't know. And then, what's the other one? Magneto. I keep forgetting Magneto was a horseman because he's only really a horseman for the, like, 2 scenes. But as far as acting is concerned, I don't think they were given very much to work with. I mean, Olivia Munn had 4 lines of dialogue and then wore a skin-tight spandex suit. Storm got her hair turned white and existed solely to introduce Apocalypse to the real world. Angel was kind of a dick, but he was not enough of a dick for you to not like him because he was only beating the shit out of mutants, because if he didn't, the neo-Nazis would have killed them both. So you can't even really be like, oh, well, like, none of them were even, like, bad guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't think that they were even supposed to be bad.
Right, they were just misguided mutants whose Apocalypse brainwashed the same way that Xavier brainwashes all the kids that he brings into his mansion. Like, no side is good or bad. They all just sort of are different versions like, they're just mutant versions of different civil rights activist groups from the fucking 70s and 80s. And so I don't care, and none of the actors really have anything to do because they're not allowed to be bad and they're not allowed to be good. They all just have to exist. And there's so many characters that have to exist that none of them really get character development or build time.
What about you, Sean?
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. I mean, like you said, John, as far as acting goes, it's like they were good. I was, like I said before, I was happy that it wasn't Halle Berry. But I didn't even realize that they were the Horsemen until you guys were talking about them. When you said Horsemen originally, I thought you were talking about...
Oh, wait, Sean, you already said what you thought.
Yeah, you went before me because...
Oh, that's right.
My brother was downstairs.
You want to know what I thought?
Yes. Tell us, Chris.
I thought Oscar Isaacs looked fucking...
Oh, I didn't even talk about Oscar Isaacs.
I mean, he looked so goofy.
I didn't even... You guys were like, oh, Oscar Isaacs is in X-Men. And I forgot who Oscar Isaacs was when I went to go see the movie, and I was watching it, and at no point did I go, that guy looks familiar, because he had so much makeup on, you couldn't even tell it was him.
Well, and also he didn't do anything distinct. You know what I mean? There was, like you said, he didn't really do anything.
As far as the one scene that I did like, Ash said that people were going to give this one shit, but I actually liked the nuke scene. Mm-hmm. As flawed as everything building up to it and after it was, that scene was at least not only stylistically interesting, but also, I actually was like, oh shit, he's launching every nuke on the planet at the same time. That's some pretty fucked up stuff. He's super powerful.
That was cool.
It actually worked to do what it was supposed to do. So that scene I liked.
I mean, honestly, it didn't matter who played Apocalypse. It's not like having Oscar Isaacs as Apocalypse really brought any gravitas or weight to the
What if it had been Steve Buscemi?
It wouldn't have mattered who it was under all that goddamn makeup and prosthetics.
You still would have seen the sunken-in eyeball.
That's perfectly fine, but they would have been rolled. It would have been rolled up into his head half the time, or not. That was probably just CGI. So
that's going to cast the Undertaker.
I mean, at least he would have been the right height. We'll get to that when we talk spoilers. I thought that Apocalypse looked fucking goofy. I mean, his design is just a total misstep for a film that more or less sticks. That's my thing about this movie, right? So they stuck with Psylocke's costume.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
From the comic, which is super goofy when you look at it. But they changed what Apocalypse looked like. Why? You know what I mean? It's like there's a disconnect here. Why change something that looks really goofy, or why keep something that looks super goofy the same, but change something else that looks
because
fine?
The stuff that looks fine isn't sexy stuff?
Well, yeah. That's
so there's no reason to keep it that way?
But see, it's not like they had her walking around in it and low-angle shots of her ass.
I'm pretty sure they did at some point.
No.
They never exploited the fact that she was wearing that sexy outfit.
Damn you, Singer.
You guys want to talk spoilers? Let's talk spoilers. Biggest spoiler of this movie, for me, Apocalypse dies.
No, he doesn't die. He gets absorbed into Jean and is probably the reason why Dark Phoenix exists.
Whoa. Really?
I mean, that's what I'm assuming because people are stupid.
That's a super.
Remember when Vision willed Ultron out of existence?
You're assuming he just willed it. We're digging on you, Shard, despite the fact that he's not even.
It was a long argument we had last year about Ultron and whether or not Ultron was willed out of existence by Vision.
Oh, was it? You guys like for or against the film?
Come on, man.
I rewatched it and I didn't hate it as much as I did the first time. Anyway,
that's just a little boys.
Back to raping. Yeah, I mean, what stuck out to you guys as spoilers worth talking about from the film?
I mean, actual spoilers, like shit that I would say and people would be like, oh my god, why would you tell me that, is not really anything. I just have a shitload of problems with little things that happened in the movie that made everything else less important or believable. Like Angel in that cage fight, fucking Nightcrawler throws him against the cage and it electrifies his wings and he becomes crippled Angel, right?
Yes.
That's why he needs the metal wings when Ultron shows up. But before...
You mean Apocalypse?
Yeah. Whatever. Interchangeable Doomsday bad guy number 4. But so... Before Nightcrawler gets thrown in the cage, Angel is shown knocking out a guy that is clearly supposed to be the Blob from X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Which is the fact that I wandered in the cage.
Right. I mean, either that...
Except he was totally wearing the Blob's costume from, like, everything the Blob we've ever seen the Blob
and the Blob's superpower is that he is the immovable object. And Angel's superpower is that he has wings and knows how to throw a halfway decent punch. And the Blob didn't just, like, catch him in his giant, meaty, fat hand and just hold him against the electric cage. No, because Angel has to be proven to be a badass somehow without actually showing us him fight the Blob.
But the Blob's not that smart.
Yeah, he's not that smart, but you're trapped in an electrified cage. It's not like there's a lot of tactics going on there.
I think that case, like, he had, like, some scratches or some cuts on his neck, I guess, and then he scratched the ground to, like, mark his victory. So I'm assuming it's something to do with the talons. That's how he took him down. Because that's what he was trying to do with Nightcrawler, just he was too fast.
Yeah, but the Blob's power is that he's, like, super endurance. Like, in the cartoons... Cyclops shoots him dead on with like a full blast laser eye beam, and he just sort of gets thrown against the wall and is like, "Oh, I'm groggy now." Not like KO'd even.
Yeah, that's the whole 1,000 cuts thing, I guess.
I guess.
I mean, like, they can't show it because like a PG-13 movie. That's like the only conceivable way in which Angel beats Blob.
Well, and they weren't gonna fucking get that guy to come back and reprise his role as the Blob from X-Men Origins Wolverine.
That movie is awesome.
I want to know, will I am Nightcrawler again?
Let's see. Another problem I had, Cyclops and his laser eyes. At one point, he has them blocked by a bandage that they wrap around his head.
I think that was just, I don't know.
Eyes closed under the bandage?
Yeah, that was just like to motivate him. I guess because it's weird to, I guess you can still have light coming through when your eyes are closed, so I'm not sure. But I'm like, I guess that was just, just some way for him to, I don't know, feel normal or like just feel natural about not being able to see anything for now.
I mean, okay, so that's one part of why his laser eyes are dumb. But the next one is that when he's being bullied by the jock kid, he like shoots his lasers at the stall bathroom door, and instead of blowing a hole in the stall and killing the bully standing on the other side, the stall is apparently more powerful than an oak tree and concrete prison mutant negating bunker walls so that it doesn't get murdered.
I really don't want to be like the technical guy here and be like, oh, well, technically. But like technically,
I mean, powerful.
He hits the stall, right? And then he moves his eyes up, and when he starts hitting the cutting through the roof, it's like his beams are focused on there. So I'm assuming to cut through something, you actually have to, like, look at it for, like, a good chunk.
I mean, not really. When he hits that target in the field in front of the tree, it just blows the shit out of the target immediately.
It's like paper and wood, right? And wood's, like, susceptible to heat anyways. So, I mean...
the plastic stall doors are not more durable than trees.
We can assume they're aluminum, so... aluminum titanium alloy, so...
You know what, Let's actually talk about the real spoiler / problem with this movie, and I know that this is gonna be the one that really riles Ash up.
My jimmies.
Right, my jimmies have been sufficiently rustled. The fact that Bryan Singer apparently forgot what happened at the end of Days of Future Past. Remember when Mystique saved Wolverine at the end of Days of Future Past, disguised as Stryker? And then apparently they completely forgot that happened in Apocalypse.
But Bryan Singer didn't write Days of Future Past, so he gets a pass on continuity.
No, he didn't.
Oh my god.
He did.
Listen. I thought Bryan Singer took a break on that second one.
No, he did not direct the first one.
Oh, well then, yeah, that's on him. He's a dumb one.
Can we just... Okay, let's just talk about this.
Actually, excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The screenplay was written by Simon Kinberg, who also wrote Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. So he's a dum-dum.
So, let's...
How did no one notice?
No, hang on. Ash gets to talk now because
How did no one notice that?
No, because we're just going to keep bouncing around the topics. Let's get into the meat of it, okay?
Go ahead.
So let's establish some things about Wolverine. Wolverine has bone claws.
Yes.
In Days of Future Past, before modern day and before this movie, he has bone claws.
Yes.
And in modern day, he has metal claws because that happens. That's comic book stuff, and Wolverine's supposed to have metal claws. Mystique.
We'll get on the anything can happen thing afterwards because I have points to say about that.
Mystique saves him. I'm not sure why that was a narrative choice. For whatever reason. I guess it was supposed to show that Raven actually still gave a shit about Wolverine.
Because they were making some point where they had the voiceover was like, but even sometimes we can surprise each other.
Because Mystique's an anti-hero, right?
Fuck.
She's never she's a Brotherhood of Mutants.
She's a who gives a shit is what she is. Oh, she cares about as much as her character is I do.
So, she rescues him. But Wolverine's still gonna have to get metal claws. That's a given. So how else does he get them besides through Project X? And then he escapes. All that was to show that Wolverine escaped, and that's when that happens, and that's when his first interaction is with the team. And, to have a little in-joke with Cyclops. I'm like, I hope that's the last we see of him. But, yep.
Are you not done?
No, that's just something I think. It's gonna happen. I don't get why everyone's getting worked up because but he got rescued. Well, he obviously has to get metal claws somehow. So when does that happen? Who cares?
Maybe it doesn't have to happen the exact same way it happened before because they've made a point that anything can happen in this new X-Men universe.
No, okay, look, they make a point,
John.
They make a point that anything can happen because they time traveled back in time and altered the fabric of space and time. So God knows how people are gonna be in new X-Men, but these movies are totally just a prequel trilogy for the original X-Men trilogy. That's why the team, aside from Nightcrawler at the end of Apocalypse, is almost the exact same team as in the first X-Men movie. That's why they warp Xavier into the bald cripple again. That's why fucking everything happens, is so that they can be like, oh look, this was all just setting up to X-Men 1. But that's because they're not looking at the whole picture. They just think that would be fucking cool. The problem is that if it's all a setup to X-Men 1, and in X-Men Days of Future Past, the X-Men from X-Men 1 are sending Wolverine back in time to stop Days of Future Past, then that means that they're all the same X-Men that caused Days of Future Past future, because time travel doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Because how could you send yourself back into the past if you hadn't already done it?
Why does Wolverine need metal claws? Because that's Wolverine's character, and we have to do everything the same way because that's what people want. That's what we think people want. Why do Jean and Cyclops have to have a forced relationship from get out of my head, you weird girl who I can't see, to holy shit, she's hot, to hey, we're going fucking steady now in 10 minutes of screen time? Because Jean and Scott are together in the lore that people know, and so that's what they think that we want and expect.
I think that was a little, actually, it wasn't as contrived as I think everyone's going to see it to be, because, look, he's obviously, they make a point of saying that Havoc's the one who's he's the responsible older brother, and he actually gives a shit.
Yeah, that's why he blew up. The entire X-Men. Right.
I'm pretty sure. Okay. Listen. Havoc make a point of Havoc coming back to the X-Men a long time. When in that moment does Beast say, "Hey, by the way, I made a nuclear fucking plane in the basement, so don't hit anything there"?
Why is it a nuclear plane in the first place? That's goddamn irresponsible.
I don't know if it's nuclear, but it's a fucking weapons plane. And they even say they give a justification as to why, so he's not gonna know.
dog, it's an SR-71 Blackbird.
Okay, yeah, sure, same thing. Whatever. No. So, okay, he makes a fucking explain. If you shoot it, it explodes. He's not gonna have a fucking memo telling all the kids that. So how is Havoc gonna know?
Wouldn't he tell everyone with access to that level of the mansion that it exists there?
I'm sure Xavier tells him that, but I really doubt once again that Havoc, who's visiting, is gonna Beast's gonna pull him aside and be like, yo, if Apocalypse invades or we have a fight down here, don't shoot in that general direction.
Yeah, but shouldn't the rule be don't shoot in random directions that people don't tell you to shoot in?
Okay, yeah, but Havoc...
Shouldn't blow up everything you look at if you don't...
Havoc was always a rebel, right? Like, that's what they established in First Class, too. But, the whole idea is that now he's got his life together and he's trying to, I guess, he's being like a mutant activist or some shit.
He's the one that was supposed to make something of himself?
Yeah, and Scott is supposed to be like, he's the little rebel, right? So then, it makes sense that when he's blind and shit and can't see anything, he's going to be a dick to some random girl because she's a telepath. Like, that makes complete...
Yeah, he's a rebel, just like...
No, but look, he's a dick to Jean not because he's a dick. He's a dick to Jean because has, from everything that we've seen about him in this movie, he has a history of being bullied by jocks. He's a put-upon kid who thinks his brother is way cooler than he is. His family thinks that he's just a sort of nebbish nerd, apparently, because he gets superpowers, and they're like, well, I guess he's got more in common with me than we thought. And then he goes to this school, and he's blind and shoots lasers from his fucking eyeballs, and he's like, I am not happy with this situation. I am in a bad mood. And he acts like a dick because he's a nebbish, put-upon, maligned, bullied little kid who suddenly realizes that anytime he opens his eyes, he blows shit up in front of him. And that should have been his whole character arc for this movie. The whole thing should have been him dealing with the fact that all of a sudden, he, who was previously a mousy, don't bother me and I won't bother you character, now blows shit up with his eyes. That should have been his character arc. And instead they go, hey, get out of my head, weird psychic girl, because I'm worried. And then the next time he sees her, he's like, oh, shit, she's hot. I want to bone that. And then the next time we see him, he's like, I'm the cool kid in school. It's about time I had a prison break, even though I've been here for like a week. Let's take the blue kraut from Germany to the mall to show him American culture. Where does Professor X keep the cars so I can hotwire it and we can all drive out in a convertible, yo? America. Let me get my fucking greaser jacket on.
So, a couple things there. Did they really just say kraut?
I know they didn't say kraut. I'm exaggerating.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, anyways.
But they did totally go like you've never been to a mall?
Yeah, but the whole put-upon kid thing is like, well, he's not, I don't think, he's not really a rebel, but he doesn't like jocks. And that's shown, like, the guy, he's rubbing his eyes, thinks she's looking at his girl, and then when the jock says to him, he doesn't, like, immediately back down and be like, oh, I'm sorry, man, don't hurt me. No, he's like, you're a dick, bro, I'll make fun of you. So he does that. And then later on,
more worried about his eyes being on fire.
Exactly, but he's still an asshole to the jock because he doesn't take shit from anyone. But then, so obviously he's going to be like a reserved kind of guy. I don't know, maybe he feels ashamed because of Havoc, and now he's a mutant and shit too. But anyways, that's
the bullied kid that the jock threatens to pound.
If he's not bullied, like, you can't assume that he's being bullied. He's just a dick to people he doesn't know. Like, he's a reserved individual, so he's
if a jock follows a character into a bathroom, pounds on the stall door repeatedly like a fucking robot set on repeat, and then goes, I'm gonna pound you, kid!
Okay,
then
yeah.
You can assume that the character being bullied is bullied.
Well, yeah, at that juncture, but it's not like he's been regularly bullied. I doubt he's some little prissy who takes shit from jocks every day, because he obviously doesn't. I think just in that case, like, jocks aren't the smartest guys. They're gonna go after the kid even though he wasn't looking at his girl. That's why it's an isolated situation. But once again, to the whole Jean situation, he's reserved, he's held back, he doesn't want people in his head. That's why he's a douche. But then he sees her, she's hot. That's literally what happens. It's like half the reason why Cyclops and Jean get together, because he likes how she looks, but then they find out, oh, well, can be emotionally supportive too, because, Cyclops is always fucking distraught, and eventually it's because of all the responsibility, and Jean's like an alleviating factor and shit. I don't think it's ever, like, obviously, they're fucking teenagers. He's not gonna look at her and be like, wow, she has a stellar personality, or she's reading fucking Chomsky or some shit, I'm gonna go talk to her and start some intellectual discussion. No, she was hot.
But my problem is not that they're together because he wants to get his dick wet. My problem is that they go from, I don't like you because you're a freak, and I'm a freak, and stay away from me because we're both freaks and we shouldn't be freaks together, to, let's have our fucking babies, and I'm jealous that you're having a mind meld with this crazy berserk animal dude. In the span of, 10 screen time minutes.
But the whole, I'm a freak, you're a freak thing, I don't think it was to be I don't associate myself with freaks. I think it's just, once again, I don't poke into my mind because, I don't like being open with myself.
I know that's not, it wasn't a huge, I hate freaks thing. He was doing it because he was in a bad mood and a bad place. I get that. But you're missing my complaint is not how it happened or why it happened, but the fact that it happened over the course of 10 minutes of screen time because their entire relationship is just, we know that they're going to do this because we have to, because even though we went back in time, we still think that what you guys want is the same stuff you've seen a million times before, so we're going to force this relationship to blossom over the course of 10 minutes of screen time because you want it. Even though you don't know we don't know what you want because we're dumb.
At least when they did that in the Star Trek movies, they changed it up enough. I mean, in this movie, they haven't changed it at all. I mean, Jean Grey and Cyclops. In the Star Trek movie, Jesus Christ, Spock is with Uhura, which, unfathomable because that never happened anywhere. Vulcan explodes, that never happened anywhere.
They can do that stuff because it's an alternate timeline.
Yeah, and this time it's an alternate timeline, they say.
Yeah, but it's obviously not, because they fucked up.
Well, then stop saying it is.
I never.
Why did they even make these movies the way they made them? It's so fucking stupid.
No one's saying there's an alternate timeline. Dark Phoenix Saga, when they did it in The Last Stand, they fucked it up.
Wait a second. So what you're telling me is Cyclops and Jean Grey met Nightcrawler in the 80s and then met him again in the 2000s and they didn't know it was him?
Days of Future Past retconned literally everything that wasn't First Class and, whatever happened.
Alternate timeline.
Okay, which is now the mainstream thing. So, why are we calling it alternate timeline? This is where they're doing everything.
Because it's the alternate timeline from the first 3 movies that came out.
The whole thing about, why are we doing this all over again? Okay, one,
because they have no creative ideas.
They're in a relationship. She literally held his hand because his brother fucking died. That is so holding hands quantifies itself as a relationship.
No, the shot types that you put the two characters in, showing Jean Grey mind meld with.
What does she have to be sucking his Cyclops?
No, they could have a fucking kid. Okay, sexual tension between Cyclops and Jean Grey is literally half the fucking original whole setup in the comics. She holds his hand because his brother just died. Would you not give a reassuring pat on the back or some shit? Okay, sure, there's obviously something hinted there, but not in a fucking relationship. I doubt that's just going to happen.
Sean, I want to call in our relationship expert, Mr. Sean Liang.
Why would I be that?
Mr. Sean Liang, did Jean Grey and Cyclops, did they have a relationship heading into the end of this film?
I would think so.
Boom,
are they boyfriend? Okay, once again, they're literally fighting apocalypse.
Cyclops calls her Bae at the end of the movie, dude.
It's just the way. It's
not the 90s yet.
What?
It's just a formula.
You want to talk about another thing that's fucking waste of this movie? Why is this movie set in the 80s? And how is Havoc not a 40-year-old man?
Oh yeah, because he wasn't
Havoc was 19 in First Class, and I was in the 60s.
Okay, and First Class was how many years before this movie?
No,
it took place in the 60s.
So 20 years before. So he should have been 40.
And Days of Future Past took place 10 years before this movie did. It's okay. They don't age. Okay. They're mutants. I
think that's mentioned. Mutants have expanded lifespans. That's why. That's what the comics.
That is not mentioned.
No. That's why in the. Okay, no. I'm not saying that's in the movies. I'm just saying in the comics because that's why Magneto's perpetually
But what happens in the comics doesn't matter because it didn't happen in the movie.
Okay, let's say Havoc is 30. That's not an unreasonable number. He's 19.
39.
First Class.
He should be 39.
40, dude. He would be 40.
Why would he be? It's it's the early 80s.
Days of Future Past took place 10 years before this movie, and First Class took place 10 years before Days of Future Past.
He was 19 in.
Okay, have we seen Joseph Gordon-Levitt? People can be young. And
young.
Okay,
just hanging a lantern on it doesn't make it okay.
That's a ridiculous thing. What do you want them to do? Recast Havoc? Hey guys, this guy's Havoc.
maybe don't set them 10 years apart for 30 years.
I mean, it's
But
like they do that because they recast some of the characters and then they don't do that.
Okay, but you have to reasonably lead into like developing the team and making so that in the 2000s it's like Famke Janssen and all those whoever plays Cyclops there.
Okay, but listen.
But that universe doesn't exist anymore.
At the end of Days of Future Past, he goes there and he's like, "Oh, Jean, yeah, they're still there." They called them all back for that. So 90s, they're gonna be like what 20 somethings, and then they'll be like in the 30s during the 2000s, which is how old they should be.
Okay, but listen, Havoc doesn't exist in that timeline, right? He's already well and truly dead from blowing himself up.
Yeah.
So why couldn't Havoc have come back as like a 40-year-old dude who comes back because his much younger brother, and that totally happens. It's totally possible for a person to be like fucking 30 years apart from their siblings if their parents get busy later in life. Or adopt. They could adopt. And why couldn't they have him come back and be like, I know how to help take care of my brother because I have now spent the last 20 years learning from Professor X. Instead, they were like, you know what, we're going to spend 20 years learning from Professor X, and then...
It's just so lazy, John.
Well, yeah, I know, I'm just pointing
What a ridiculous detail. It's like the whole Wolverine camp. Like, oh, it doesn't make sense in the timeline. Why is he any older? Really, just think about...
Their timeline, they literally shouldn't... They should just say, like, the timeline's completely fucking
hard.
stupid.
First class...
hard.
The literal last 5 minutes of Days of Future Past, and this. That is all that has actually happened. That's what is real. That's what's occurred.
But are the other movies going to happen?
Gone. The whole idea is that now...
No, but it's established that they're not, because the last 5 minutes of Days of Future Past has Wolverine in the X-Mansion with X-Men 1, 2, and 3 Jean Grey.
Okay, yes, but like that's because they already have those characters. It's not like... I'm not sure how they're going to like continue it like that, but of course you're going to have Wolverine and Cyclops and Jean in the same build.
This movie's continuity, this franchise's continuity is literally as convoluted as the Terminator.
It's really the reason why it's a big part of why it's hard to like join in as a fan. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it completely isolates casual.
It really doesn't just watch. Okay, I've never. Listen,
Dude,
I've never.
I once saw the movie with two people who are casual viewers, and Sean echoes this. They had no idea what was going on.
It's a little hard to explain, but like if you watch First Class and then literally the last, you don't even have to watch Days of Future Past. That just resets it. All you have to do is watch First Class, and there you have it.
Yeah,
you lead right into this movie.
I think that's just like the inherent flaw in this franchise, and that's like maybe inescapable because of the way it is. But like, and like I said before, the X-Men, this type of universe where there's so many characters involved and they're all very unique, and now it's getting intertwined in like a time travel and maybe an alternate universe, maybe not. I don't know. Like that is just so difficult and complicated the way it's been told so far that it's just so hard to jump in anywhere without going back.
I'm gonna be honest. Why didn't they just reboot this?
I thought
that's what Days of Future Past was. It was literally a reboot.
Oh, but
it's not a reboot if you have the same.
It's not a reboot when you have actors from the original trilogy.
So they did that. Okay, it's for familiarity. Why would you not want to see Famke Janssen as like Jean Grey? It's just to say that these people are still here. If they introduced a random redhead, it's like, oh, hey, Jean. Like, that would be kind of confusing.
I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about the whole first hour and a half of the movie.
What do you mean?
Where they have Xavier sending Wolverine back in time from the clearly the first three movies timeline to a different timeline.
Because they want to have it so that it's like...
Because they want to make it intentionally confusing.
Because they want to
get away with a bunch of dumb shit. Oh, well, let's just write everything off and say it's over. They literally wanted a filler movie that could act as something to say, oh, well, this is what's happening now, and everything else is null and void. Like, what's so hard about that?
They could have just made a new trilogy and done the exact same thing.
It's successful.
It's really not hard if you watch all of the X-Men movies that have ever been made. It's not hard to figure out why they're doing it. But you have to admit that it doesn't make sense. You have to make a leap of faith and just be like, well, it's okay because this has been entertaining so far. Like, I don't care if you like X-Men Apocalypse, but you have to at least be like aware of its flaws and just be accepting of the fact that it has flaws and people aren't going to like it because of these flaws. but you like it anyway.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't have flaws. There are flaws, but I don't think these little tiny ones like, oh, well, the timeline's confusing. I don't like that. Well, no, it's not. Just watch First Class and you understand it. There's literally nothing else to it. Everyone else who's seen it is like, oh, but they use the same actors. Well, they're people like them in the role, so they brought them back. It's not like they're completely away from the... They're like, oh, it's from the same timeline. Like, oh, that's confusing to you? Can't just suspend the disbelief that, oh, Famke Janssen's a good Jean Grey, let's keep her as that. Hugh Jackman's a good Wolverine, let's keep him as that. Like, everything else, okay, they underutilized. It was a little bloated. They had too much stuff to talk about. They didn't really use all of it. And Apocalypse character design. Those are valid flaws, but saying a Wolverine cameo doesn't really make sense because some setup, even though we know Wolverine's going to get metal claws. And it's like, oh, but why does this have to be that? Because it's alternate timeline. Well, it's not. It is the main timeline. It's their second attempt at making a good X-Men universe. And, like, showing the lead up.
well, they failed.
What's the first entry? I don't understand. Like, it's
the third entry.
It's the first real film in the new timeline. That's
It's totally...
No,
it's the
third
one.
Of it,
Did you forget where Peter Dinklage was making robots in the last movie and Kevin Bacon was in the first movie?
This is the third movie in the series, but it's being straightforward, this is the first movie of the reboot of the present timeline X-Men. But it's the third movie in the new reboot franchise. It's stupid and it's pointless, but there is a difference.
Hey, Sean, how about something I think we can both agree on? This is the last X-Men movie that I will be watching.
The thing is, I watched Days of Future Past. That's the name of the movie, right? Okay.
Yeah, Sean.
Sean,
I love your childlike wonderment. That's the name of the movie, right?
I did. I saw that movie and I really liked it and I understood everything. And so I was really, like, surprised that I didn't like, or just couldn't, it's not that I couldn't follow it. I mean, I think I followed it, but, like, it's interesting to me that I didn't like this movie as much. But I don't know, like, now that I'm hearing you guys talk about it, I'm like, I don't know anything about this movie. I know nothing about this franchise, so I'm, like, and the problem is that, like,
It's okay. The four of us could have written a better X-Men movie.
I believe that.
When you have Simon Kinberg writing, that's only a feat.
I just do wish that they would just sort of start over.
They had an opportunity after Last Stand to start over. That's what I don't get about all of this, is they could have just started X-Men First Class as a new, nothing connected to the original trilogy film and start a whole new franchise off of that. But Days of Future Past, they went and intentionally convoluted it because they wanted to have the ability to, McAvoy and Patrick Stewart in the same fucking room, and whoa, that's crazy, fucking nerdgasm. That's exactly what that struck me as in that movie. They intentionally convoluted their own storyline because they wanted to tell a story from the comics that in and of itself it makes sense in the comics, but that's because in comic books anything can fucking happen. Spider-Man can show up and fucking hang out and swing around on webs and all that shit. But in the films, there are rules that apply that don't apply in the comic books because people intentionally... The people who read comic books and the people who watch movies are two different sets, but there is overlap. And that's the whole problem with this, is because Ash, you and I and John can suspend disbelief and look at the timeline and understand it, people like Sean and other casual viewers are not going to get it. They're just not. But
I think the problem with that, like, not understanding this movie lies more in, like, the subject matter they chose to tell, rather than, like, well, where is this from?
I'm just talking about the timeline and how all of this works together.
Okay, the timeline had literally, there was no mention.
Days of Future Past convoluted everything that came after.
There was no mention of any of the original X-Men universe in this movie besides Hugh Jackman.
I wonder why.
And I think the only reason people couldn't follow it is because they took too much and they tried to adapt it, just like BVS did. I don't think the reason anyone didn't follow this was because, oh, well, where's Patrick Stewart and all those people if you're using Hugh Jackman? No, I don't think...
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about this, like, Days of Future Past, that movie intentionally convoluted the way the X-Men universe works.
No, the problem isn't that I was confused, though. I hope that, like, that's not... I'm not confused about what I saw. I more feel left out on the impact that some of the scenes might have had if I were a fan of the entire franchise. Does that make sense? So, like...
Sean, I just imagine you sitting in the theater and being like, why is that guy shooting red lasers?
And that's the thing. Well, they're all blue.
I don't think you're
It is weird that all of the people with body morphs are blue.
Right?
I'm blue.
Right, that line. It's like, why are you blue, though? Like, why is blue the go-to mutant skin color?
Oh, my God.
And then it's like hinted that Beast wants to fuck Mystique.
Hinted. That's straight up. They straight up have a date in First Class.
Oh, again, I don't remember that movie because it had Kevin Bacon in it, and that's the only part I remember. He did something. I don't know.
You know what I wish? I wish X-Men would have a TV series, a live action TV series where we just meet a few mutants and then we just get to know them, and then it's just this, I don't know, a more laid back version of X.
And that would happen if Marvel could make it an episode.
So they're already then
it would be good because
there's already a Hellfire show coming out. There's a Legion show coming out, and there's the whole getting to know a new little cast of people. That's for what is it? All new X-Men. It's with all the kids and stuff in the modern day.
Really?
Yeah, that's a movie that's gonna come out. So there's gonna be a lot of
have
spin-off
a movie
stuff.
where it's Quicksilver as a spin-off and I don't care about anyone else.
That would be super boring.
This is the tale. This whole thing is just how Cyclops, Jean, and Angel and Beast and all of them become a team. That's
Angel is dead.
Angel is not dead.
I just wish that if this is gonna be
listen here, fam. Angel crashed into an angel who can fly. Died by crashing in a plane because he's an idiot.
Physics. Yes.
He's
literally why.
Not dead. He just whipped his wings out and then caught an air draft and got sucked out of the back of the plane or some shit.
Okay, the reason
she flew away because
the reason she pushed him down is because now he's getting forced down, so he can't get out. Okay, he's not dead. He's not gonna kill Angel. I hope you know that.
Yes,
he's not gonna kill Angel.
I mean, to be fair, they kill Archangel.
Well,
and then Angel gets reborn.
Havoc. Havoc's never been a real character, anyways.
Whoa!
Literally, Havoc does not matter in any X-Men.
Lucas Till, bro, he's offended.
Yeah, but Havoc seriously doesn't matter. Havoc's not cool unless he has the whole bodysuit and shit. And Havoc, he doesn't exist. All right, he was just a setup for Cyclops.
Jesus Christ!
I mean, he was.
Here, Donald Trump. They don't exist.
I agree. That's all. But it was at least.
That's why he had to kill himself, so the Cyclops could have more pointless shit to brood over.
It's emotion.
He brooded over him.
It's not emotion. Listen, if you can shoot lasers out of your goddamn eyes and somebody gives you a pair of sunglasses that not only makes you look cool, but also keeps you from killing everybody that you look at, and then you say the line, "It feels like a curse, not a gift," you're a fucking dumb shit ass.
But he doesn't have the sunglasses at that point. And still, he can't open his friggin' eyes without glasses.
Doesn't matter. Listen,
No. John, you're right. You're right. And then Charles Xavier gives him some shitty platitude, and he's like, "Oh,
it always does."
I don't get that. You guys
yes, it always does.
You guys try to hide behind look at all this bullshit that he's talking about. Well, that's part of the X-Men franchise, is how your differences make you feel.
Now you're just hanging a lantern on it.
That's exactly what the point is. Their message is always difference and fighting bigotry and shit, and it's about how being different makes it feel like a disadvantage, whereas in reality you can use it as your strength. That's literally what he's saying. You can call it a platitude, sure, but that's what happens. That's what they're trying to say. Is it's literally always a metaphor for differences and stuff and overcoming that.
Yes,
that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah, no, that's what X-Men is about, of course. And Spider-Man's about going through puberty. What's your point?
So
it's about that level. Okay.
Ash, you're right. That is what X-Men is about at its core.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have every story be a repeat of the same thing.
Okay, but let's be real.
The same story they've been telling since X-Men 1. Oh, and Charles and Magneto are always at odds.
They're also
never going to be on the same team.
Once again,
yes.
This is literally X-Men revamped.
It doesn't. That's not. You don't get
not
pass
everyone,
if you're rebooting something that's happened 5 times and you do the same thing.
Not everyone. Listen, not everyone is off. Not everyone has seen X-Men 1 to fucking
I know
last
not
night.
everyone has seen it, but I'm assuming that the writers have seen it,
exactly,
and they went, you know what, let's write an X-Men movie and do the exact same thing again.
Okay, with
Well, it's pretty easy to do that, John. You don't have to really think outside the box.
And then you get fucking paid because you're a lazy sack of shit screenwriter.
No, you just go write Fantastic Four too, dude.
With X-Men, you jumped right into these 20-something X-Men who were fighting Magneto and stuff already when he's old. This is literally the cool stuff that people want to see on screen. All the cool shit and all the team building happens before any of that, like any of their actual big fights with the Brotherhood of Mutants. This is literally them telling that story. And you can be like, oh...
Dude, I never want to see anyone fight Magneto again.
Okay, the reason why First Class is cool, right, and why Apocalypse isn't, is because First Class is the people that we, hardcore, the people that have watched all the X-Men movies, we know all of them, but it's taking it and showing them in a different light from a different point of view at a different time in their life, right? That's why First Class is cool. But over the course of these 3 movies, they have literally taken that cool perspective and been like, guess what? We're compressing them and molding them into that thing that you all saw previously so that they can be the same shit as they were, and now we're not looking at them from a different angle. Xavier is fucking awesome in First Class because he's literally a human being trying to get laid, and that's something we haven't seen from Xavier before. And he's shit in this movie because he's back to being the platitude, bald, brainwashing, fucking, hey, young people who are ostracized from the society in which they live, come live in my mansion for the rest of your goddamn lives and be my little child soldiers with fucking superpowers.
Look, see, I think that's just like what you want to see then, because I mean, sure, it's been done before, and it's like, oh, but that's literally what Charles Xavier is. He's always like a moral center for people.
I mean, not really, because there are story arcs where...
Okay, yes, but Charles is a dick in the comics, and no one wants to see perverted, dickish Charles from the comics, okay? He's like an actual... He's an... But that's the thing, why? Why do you want to see that? Oh,
because that's a real flawed human being, and not just a...
They're supposed... Okay, they're
Don't hurt people. Turn the other cheek over and goddamn over again.
X-Men aren't about, like, godlike people being flawed humans. That's like the Justice League and shit, and that's like Thor and Hulk and stuff. The X-Men are about having special abilities that make you different, but then using them for the good of people. So it's just a different message they're sending, and so for that to happen, it's not supposed to be like, oh, Charles Xavier's a fucking drunk who's like an asshole too. No, he's supposed to like guide these children who are struggling with their lives. The whole point of these stories is always supposed to be the kids, and right now it's still Charles because these kids like are just being introduced. So the next movie Charles is going to be a guiding force. Like, all I want to see like that last shot with all of them lined up and stuff, and Scott in like the original kind of outfit. That was awesome. I want to see the original team on screen. I don't care if Charles is speaking platitudes, because that's what his character does. He's literally supposed to just tell these kids what makes you different also makes you special.
You can tell a message without being annoying. You can lead people to live a better life and act like heroes and guide them to a more responsible use of their frickin' superpowers without saying the same 3 lines over and over and over again and having the same conversation with Magneto every frickin' movie.
Okay, the whole Magneto relationship, that's just a difficult thing to do in general, because they're always
yeah, especially when Magneto kills like God knows how many millions of people.
And Captain America kills literally thousands of
Oh, but Captain America isn't vaporizing
cities, man. It doesn't matter.
Man.
Like, okay, everyone's
it does, man. In this day and age, in a post BVS world,
okay,
it does matter.
In literally Age of Ultron, all they're doing is murking people left and right. Hulk is literally crushing people in the fucking forest, and no one talks about them. Because it's okay for the Avengers to kill.
Because they're bad guys.
Oh, wow, yes, because they're bad guys. But then we're going to talk about...
Magneto is literally killing innocent civilians by the fucking
right. At no point does the whole...
And then at the end he's like, well, he helped kill Apocalypse, though he was actually working with him, which is why all the people died. But you know what? It's fine. He turned on Apocalypse in the end anyways and killed him. So it's no big deal. Just let this crazy psychopath who kills people roam free.
You want them to send him to mutant jail or some shit, some weird kind of fucking prison? Because how well does that work out? Why would you kill him? That just makes you just as bad as everyone else. What kind of thing is that? That's like the whole Batman. That's the whole Batman thing over again. Apocalypse is literally Apocalypse is literally superpowered Hitler. That's what he is. The whole Aryan race, perfect humans. Yeah, that's literally what he is.
Apocalypse cannot be superpowered Hitler and then have you go, but Magneto, he's cool. He's a fucking anti-hero. Yeah. Magneto literally is, I was in a Jewish concentration camp and it traumatized me so badly that I've become mutant Nazi Hitler.
Because now I genocide people.
His whole arc, and it's compelling and cool because it's fucked up, but you can understand it, and so you're like, well, I wouldn't do that, but I get it. You're just troubled, and it's fine. I mean, clearly, anti-heroes are acceptable. Deadpool tells a taxi driver to kidnap his cousin, kill him, and dump his dead body on his ex-wife's doorstep, and everybody just laughs and thinks it's cool. So, they don't need to kill Magneto because he shredded a bunch of people, but they do need to fucking have a comment on it. They can't be like, he ended up helping them fight Apocalypse at the end, and so the fact that he turned a skyscraper into dust in the middle of the day when it was obviously filled with people doing work, we're gonna gloss over that because, hey, change of heart redemption. And also because we feel for the fact that his new family got murdered immediately after being introduced by a frickin' bow and arrow.
because plot convenience, bro. He just happened to let go of the arrow. And it just happened to kill his wife and his child at the same time.
And we only literally just gave him so that we could kill them in front of him so that he would have a reason.
So he would have a reason to be emotionally traumatized and once again hate humans and then once again get exploited by Apocalypse. That's his whole fucking thing.
But he already is. Why don't you have him?
Because he wanted to try. Literally said he wanted to try Xavier's way. He wanted to see if he could fit in with humans, and it worked for a while. And then humans killed him. It's literally it's him getting burned by humans all the time. That's why he's just an asshole to them.
I know, but you could have him try and live among humans and be troubled by their behavior towards mutants without also giving him a wife and child that they love and live in an idyllic fairy tale log cabin.
But that's fucking weird. Though. You're gonna have yeah, but how do you change his perspective on humans then? Oh, one day
you don't. Maybe you would have had him try. You would have had him just team up with Charles Xavier.
You have him try to change, but be unable to because it's not who he is and not how he believes the world.
But where's the motivation for that? I'm trying to what does he reason? If he's a loner and living by himself amongst humans and he's chill with everyone, where do you make it so that he suddenly hates them again? What happens?
You have it. Okay, so listen to what I'm saying. He doesn't have a wife and kid. He just lives in some city, laying low, not being a fucking mutant, superpowered terrorist. And he goes to work, he works his day job around other people. It can still be in a metal factory if you really absolutely need the goddamn imagery of metal. And then he goes home and he sits in his room and watches the news, and the news is constantly talking about how more mutants have struck again. They have that scene in the fucking news montage where a guy stands on camera and goes, a brotherhood of our own kind, because they have to set up the brotherhood for the next movie. And you have him watch the news and be berated by mainstream human media and ideology that no matter what you do, you're a mutant and you're still fucked. And despite all of his, yes, admittedly half-hearted attempts to live within the human world, he still sees that mutants are feared and viewed as pieces of shit. And then, when Apocalypse shows up, Apocalypse is like, hey, you've always felt this way, you have, because you've always been disregarded by mankind in its entirety, and the only reason why you're not currently trying to take over the goddamn planet in a mutant Fourth Reich is because one time your crippled buddy who you crippled told you that you could be better than that, but that's not what it's about. It's about them not being good enough for you because you're already better. And then he joins Apocalypse.
That's literally just Magneto flip-flopping. Like, oh, well, Charles told me to try something. I'm going to do it.
I mean, he did flip-flop in this movie, though.
Because his fucking family died. And then the reason he flip-flops is because he realizes his loyalty is to his mutant brothers and not to Apocalypse, who's going to wipe out a bunch of mutants anyways.
No,
like his view on people
is because he remembered being inside Raven one time.
No.
Oh, fuck.
His view still hasn't changed. You know, at the end, he makes sure to say, like, he still doesn't believe in humans and how they can tolerate him. And this is all just a Genosha setup anyways. But, like, the reason he stops working with Apocalypse is because Apocalypse even said he's going to kill even the weak mutants. That's, like, his whole thing. And, like, how he still has loyalty to the people he once called family. Like, as cheesy as that is, it's still, like, a proper friggin' setup.
But Look,
it's that nearly, like, that Magneto family scene has got to be one of, like, the most heartfelt scenes in, like, all of superhero movies.
Oh, dear God.
I don't, like, no, it was well made. The Auschwitz scene was really well done, too, with, like, the overlay between him and his past self breaking shit up. Like, that was well done. Like, you're just like, oh, he's a bow and arrow. Well, of course he's a fucking bow and arrow. He's not gonna come with a gun, and I doubt they have plastic guns in where they're fucking, what is it, Poland or some shit? Yeah. So, like, a bow and arrow, like, that's not completely inconceivable. Oh, how they used a bow and arrow. How very hilarious.
You're looking at...
Don't bow and arrows have metal tips?
It could be stone. That's literally how they were originally made.
It could just be a stick carved.
It could be a caveman bow and arrow.
People make them all the time, so I mean,
Look,
it's not...
You're saying that my problems with the details are stupid, but I'm not. I'm saying that the details are dumb, but the main problem is the way that they did it. Because we've already seen Magneto's family killed back in fucking Auschwitz. We've already seen him be a troubled, I'm gonna kill the people that wronged me back in fucking First Class. We've seen him be the, I'm taking over the goddamn planet in favor of mutants in Days of Future Past when he tries to fucking, I don't remember, I think he tries to kill Peter Dinklage at one point? No, he stops Mystique from doing that. Regardless, my point is that, yes, it's him flip-flopping, but it's him flip-flopping because despite what he knows to be true about himself, he's willing to give peace a shot because Xavier is charismatic and talks to him.
Yeah, and so why why is it crazy that he makes he raises a family? I mean, is that insane to think?
Because it's not, you don't have a show, it doesn't have him build a family. It has him walk up to his house and you see his daughter talking to deers, and then in literally the next scene, they're getting shot with a bow and arrow, because that's all that they're there for. You don't see him connect. It just tells you that they connect, and that's why we're supposed to give a shit that his family is dead.
I agree. I think from the outside, I think that the biggest problem I have with this movie is that its attention is split between two interesting stories, and we don't get any full interesting from either of them, because they do the same thing. To me, I see it either coming from seeing Cyclops and Jean develop their new powers and see them work through that and become a part of the X-Men, or I see it being, Magneto falling back into this darkness, but I kind of feel like that's unnecessary. I could live with the fact that he carries this burden on his shoulders that he doesn't fully trust or believe in humans. I believe that. I believe that that's always like a switch. I mean, that's what the Hulk says. He's like, I'm always angry. So I think that totally works for me. But I understand why you like the family. I just feel like from the outside, I didn't get to see the family. I didn't get to see them be a family or build a family. It's like you said, John, we just get the end result, which it doesn't leave us. And I think that the whole subplot is sort of unnecessary.
And then they literally could have given him a reason. They had a built-in reason into the story as to why he would turn on Apocalypse by having Quicksilver be his son and tell him, I'm your son. And he would have stopped, but nah, fuck that third movie or fourth movie or 12th movie, or the fuck number they're at now. What is it? Is it 3 plus 3 plus 2? So they're at 8 now, so it'll be the
plus
9th
technically
movie?
Deadpool is a mutant.
So 10th?
Yeah,
really? Like, they couldn't just have Quicksilver be like, yeah, you're my dad.
Yeah,
that whole, I'm here for my family too line.
So fucking dumb. It's like, why are you carrot on the sticking?
They're kind of like killing these possibly climactic moments that could be really great, and it's like we're saving it for later. Like, that's why the moment with the bow and the arrow, like, that wasn't, I could feel a weight to it, but for me, like, it wasn't memorable to me because I don't know this family. I don't it was a big moment. I know that, but it wasn't.
I didn't realize we were watching Walking Dead where they prolong every plot point.
To me, that moment
for
could
the
have been
interesting ones.
Right. Well, to me, that moment could have been just as beautiful if Quicksilver did reveal his identity as his son. You know what I mean? That could have been just as if the attention had been paid to that plot. Maybe then there could have been something there.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've been talking about this movie.
If we're gonna wrap it up and be done, there's one more thing I want to do.
No, I'm going to give everyone a chance to say one last thing about
No, but I mean, I have a question for everybody. What do you guys think the next one is going to be about?
I mean, the after credit scene, pretty much.
I didn't stick around for the after credit scene.
The after credit scene teases Mr. Sinister.
Jesus, for real?
Yeah.
Another villain that no one who is not an X-Men aficionado has any idea who he is.
No idea what that is.
And he'll be a one movie villain, so don't worry about it. He'll die at the end of the next movie.
My prediction was that it was going to be Magneto leading the Brotherhood because of that one-off line of dialogue using the word Brotherhood, and he's warping Xavier's words to lead his own mutant army thing, and then through the actions of probably Magneto himself, they unleash Dark Phoenix, and then the Brotherhood and the X-Men have to begrudgingly team up to fight the Dark Phoenix.
No, it's Mr. Sinister, which probably somehow leads to Dark Phoenix. But they pretty much, right, Ash? I mean, they said Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that on YouTube then.
I mean, it's not anything exciting. It's just like these guys come in with a suitcase to where Wolverine was, and they take a sample of his blood.
Like green and yellow blood. He's gonna become the Hulk or some shit.
Wolverine has green
and yellow jacket. It's my final thing I want to say, and I'll give you guys each one final thought on the film. My final thought on the film is stop wasting massive, big, super tier level, S tier level villains on one-off movies. If you can't tell the Apocalypse story in one movie, don't do it in one goddamn movie. Do it over 3 movies. Apocalypse is a character who is worth a 3-movie arc. He really is. Onslaught and Apocalypse are the 2 big villains of the X-Men mutants, all of them. Yet they say, fuck you, he's a 1-movie villain, and he's played by a guy who's shorter than I am. Come on. And then when he's large, when he becomes giant in the movie, he looks ridiculous. He just looks goofy when he's slamming Xavier around the
Mind Mansion.
So pretty much, don't be Marvel.
Yeah, but you know what? Red Skull is a big villain for Captain America, but they didn't do Thanos in one movie. They're doing Thanos, who's one of the big villains of the Marvel Universe. They're doing him in 2 movies.
With setup in all the other movies.
Yeah, they're making a big deal out of Thanos. This is can you imagine if Thanos was just in one movie and he was just fighting Guardians of the Galaxy and Drax kills him the way it happens in the comic? That's the problem. Apocalypse should have been a 3-movie villain. Legitimately. You know that. You know what,
on that note, I don't know how an executive hasn't been like, hey, we broke up the last 2 Hunger Games books into 4 whole movies, and we broke The Hobbit into 3 movies, and the last 2 Harry Potter books each got 2 movies or more, I don't remember for certain. Why don't we take these comic book world events and make them into more than 1 movie?
Because Marvel isn't the one handling this movie?
But, they did the same thing with Civil War, too. Civil War could have been a multi-movie thing, but they decided that they wanted to get it in.
Yeah, but they're rushing. They're rushing for Thanos.
But they could have just not done Civil War.
I agree, but they wanted to see them fight.
Right, and that's all I'm saying is apparently superhero movie executives are going, it's totally cool to, do a cash grab for 3 movies for a book that's fucking 200 pages.
Yeah, 200. Yeah. Literally 200 pages.
But when we do a story arc that is in the original work covered in 4 volumes of comics, we're going to boil it down into one overly simplistic, poorly fleshed out version.
Yeah.
And then we're going to kill the bad guy.
That's confusing to me, I guess.
What about you, Ash? Final thoughts. Skip it or watch it, best performance?
Watch it, obviously. I don't know. I think the scale of it, even if you don't like, despite everyone's gonna be like, oh, depends on what you think of the movie, but I think anything in, like, the Rotten Tomatoes 40 to 70 range, you really should just decide for yourself, because, you know, it's very split on yeses or nos. The whole rating system's kind of weird, so don't just judge it based on that. Go see how you like it. I don't think it's as divisive as BVS was. Like, there's obviously be some in-betweeners, and, you know, you're not going to be like, oh, I thought that movie was absolute trash. You know, these guys should burn in hell. Screw Bryan Singer.
There were people that liked Batman vs. Superman?
Yeah, all the crazy fans. Like, oh, it's a work of art.
Yeah, but you said watch it on the podcast we did.
It's an enjoyable movie to see in theaters. It's a big movie. Like, I don't see, like, unless you're some crazy guy who's gonna start busting a nut, like, oh my god, Superman's death, oh, you fucked it up. Like, no, it's a good movie to see on screen. Especially this. I think the whole Phoenix scene and the last, like, when they're pretty much murking Apocalypse, I think that was really cool, and you see that on the big screen. Some of the action's really tight too. Best performance, I'd say Michael Fassbender, because, you know, I still like the scene and I still like what he did in that film. So, and like Chris said, the guy never gives a bad performance, so you're always going to be pleased with whatever movie you walk out of with him in it.
What about you, John?
Final thoughts is that I think that we as movie-going audiences need to stop saying that movies are not good but they're acceptable just because we're worried that they won't make any more. There's a spectrum of quality, especially for comic book movies, that ranges from Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy all the way to the other bad end with Batman and Robin Forever, you know? And just because there are movies on that spectrum doesn't mean that we should be glad that it's there and, you know, say, well, it's a superhero movie, so you can't watch it seriously. You have to give it a lot of, you know, room to go, because that just means that we're going to continue to not get good superhero movies. We're going to get quote-unquote acceptable ones. This movie is definitely a skip. The characters are rushed. The powers are poorly defined and poorly used. The bad guy he's a one-off that shouldn't have been a one-off. They force everything to change. The character relationships are dumb. There's like 2 scenes in the whole movie that I enjoyed, and that was the scene where Apocalypse launches every nuke on the planet at the same time, and the obligatory Quicksilver scenes, because of course those were interesting, because they look cool and they're mildly funny. But other than that, it was stupid, and you can watch both those scenes on YouTube, I'm sure. Best performance, I guess I also have to go with Fassbender, because like I said earlier, you know, I've never seen him in something where he wasn't good, and everybody else didn't have a shitload to work with, so Fassbender.
What about you, Sean?
I'm going to say it's a skip it, especially if you're like me, and if you haven't read the comics. I mean, it just really... It's not that I couldn't follow it or that it's confusing. I think that that's one thing that I liked about it. It's just that you feel sort of left out on story. I kind of feel left out on the emotional impacts on some of and as a moviegoer, that's something that I look for. I would really like. I mean, for me, one of the best scenes was when Scott loses his brother, and you see him go through that and this new world, and you see them meet their heroes. That's the sort of things that I liked. But I feel like a lot of the impact is lost in this mix and confusion of or whatever it is, what timelines, reboots, not, you know, that's where it's kind of lost. My favorite performance, I think, is Evan Peters. I think they gave him some fun stuff to do in this movie. And I really liked the 3D. I mean, I would never see 3D movies, but this one we watched in 3D, and it was enjoyable.
You poor man. I went and saw that shit in 2D. I ain't going to see fuck all in 3D. I ain't gonna go see a movie in 3D just to see the title credits in 3D, which probably would have made me fucking barf all over my seat for how fast those things were flying.
How the Quicksilver scenes looked in 2D, because I can't imagine watching it and not 3D and laughing at that, because it was really I mean, it was fun, but because I was watching in 3D.
Oh, final thought. You know,
the third one is always the worst.
Yeah. Rip City, bitch.
Funny.
Jesus Christ. You know, Bryan Singer, I'm going to say this. Maybe you should have spent less time waggling your dick at Brett Ratner and how much you hated what he did to your characters in Last Stand, and spent more time on directing a good movie. That's all I'm saying. It's just, the movie's not good. It's not BVS bad, but it's not good. Best performance? I think I give best performance to Oscar Isaacs because he sat in the fucking chair with that makeup on and had to probably get 10 hours of makeup every day to look like Ivan Ooze, which took 20 minutes when they did the Power Rangers movie. You know, his voice was ridiculous. He whispered sometimes, he yelled others. It was an interesting performance under all of that makeup. What do you guys think the film has on Rotten Tomatoes?
48%. 10% above Wolverine Origins, 10% below Last Stand.
I think I looked yesterday and it was like 47.
What about you, Ash?
47, probably, because I just checked before.
Everyone would like you to know that they already knew that.
I was getting a summary for the review offered to me. I was just like, this is what they say. So I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting to see.
Yeah, I wanted to know how it related in box office income and in rating scores to other recent X-Men and other superhero movies.
So the gentlemen were correct. It is sitting at a 48% right now. Overloaded action and a cliched villain take the focus away from otherwise strong performers and resonant themes, making X-Men Apocalypse a middling chapter of the venerable superhero franchise. It also has a 74% audience score. So again, you know, this movie's just not for critics.
Of course, made for the fans.
Did you guys know that X-Men Last Stand made twice as much money opening weekend with 500 fewer theaters?
Yeah, it's like an 8 million opening day.
The third one is always the worst.
I'm pretty sure he meant that to be ironic, but it just came off really poorly now.
Yeah, that's the funny part, is it was supposed to be like, haha, Last Stand is dumb, get it? Except now it's like, you're fucking dumb, dude. That would have been a quote for the second movie, Days of Future Past, not Return of the Apocalypse.
Why would you even put that line in the third movie of a franchise anyway? Just in case people don't like it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's just like...
It's like literally handing a child a gun and being like, don't shoot yourself in the head, but the gun's off safety, I swear.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Sean, is there anything you want to plug before I talk about next month's theme and the first movie?
Nothing new except for our place here now. Love Letter to a Friendship opens this weekend in the Hollywood Fringe Festival. So if you're in LA, come see us. And that's it. As always, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Seanifer. And on Facebook, I'm Sean Liang.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Kulturestash. And if you like what you're hearing now, head on over to cultureshock.com/Kulturecast to check out 100 episodes of the Kulturecast where we sit down and talk all variety of movies, not just superhero ones. This coming Monday, we're going to be joined by frequent guest co-host of the Kulturecast, Russ Linton, to talk Game of Death, the first film in our June theme, which is martial arts movies. Big thanks to John and Ash for sitting down and talking X-Men Apocalypse.
Very welcome.
And as always, big thanks to Wovoka for providing the intro-outro music for the Kulturecast. The song you hear at the beginning and the end is their song Lament off of their self-titled first album, Wovoka. And if you'd like to help us out over at cultureshock.com, head on over to patreon.com/culture_shocked and kick a couple dollars our way. It's not free or cheap to keep cultureshock.com open, so any little bit helps. Make sure to check out next week's episode.